Welcome to the Hedgehog Watchdog. We got an impromptu episode going on. Apparently, there's a Bloody Fridays happening. Lots of big changes in the LNC. Yesterday, the Region 8 representative resigned over the New Hampshire debacle. Let me look up his name real quick. So bad at names. So bad. I think it was Tucker something, wasn't it? Anyhow, they resigned. They represented New Hampshire as one of the states in the region. They voted to disaffiliate that state. Then the other states basically started voting to call for the recall of their regional representative. And he resigned before that vote passed. That was yesterday. God damn it. I can't believe I freaking cannot remember his name. I'm such a bad news person, man. It was Tucker something, dude.
Yeah.
I wish I could just say it, but whatever. But that's not the big news. The big news was today, a couple hours ago, the chair of the LNC, Joe Bishop Henchman, resigned. He wrote a big-ass letter. I didn't quite have time to read it before we went on. I just skimmed it real quick and then saw the end where he said he's resigning. But then, immediately after that, it doesn't stop. The LNC started voting to remove Karen Ann Harlos from the secretary position, and that vote looks like it's going to pass. And they're not even going to give Karen a hearing so she can defend herself, and they're doing it via an email vote, so they don't have to face her at a meeting. So I think that's pretty cold. Harlos is the one that's been investigating what's been going on with New Hampshire the most. She's been the one that's been most transparent regarding what's happening. There's suspicions that she's being retaliated against for being a whistleblower regards to the matters that are going on. And then our former chair Gideon Oakes has gotten involved in the situation too, by writing a letter that said that he's going on strike with the other staff members unless Karen Ann Harlos is removed and Joshua Smith. Apparently, there's been some bullying of the staff members, according to him, and he's fed up with it, and he's going on strike. And this is pretty, I disagree with him doing that against Smith and Harlos, but this is like the first time Gideon's actually been able to have an opinion. I don't know if he can have an opinion because he's actually the staff member on the LNC, so he's never been able to express his opinions. He's always got to keep it to himself. So this is the first time he's had an opinion on something big and party drama. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he gets to have opinions. I think this is gonna be a new Gideon, and I think it's awesome. It's kind of weird, when somebody can't give their opinion. It's like, but anyhow, more news. The Pragmatic Caucus has dissolved. That's right, the Pragmatic Caucus. Laura Ebke resigned too.
Well, yeah, she was the chair. That's I think what.
Oh yeah, she resigned. Ebke resigned as chair of the Pragmatic Caucus a few days ago. I don't even know if I did our regular intro. Did I? Did I forget to do our intro? I'm Devin Saxon. I'm hosting this with Greg Baldwin as always. This episode is brought to you by Pinkcoin. You can check them out at pinkcoin.com. So yeah, lots of commotion.
Comment if you got questions.
I
personally was trying to avoid this whole thing. This has been raging for a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, a whole week straight. Lion
I
Paul
had tried
asks,
to.
when does this start? This is going to start at exactly 8 o'clock, Lion. And we're going to get the LNC meeting up and we're going to listen to that live. Okay, sorry I interrupted you, Greg.
Yeah, I was just
But
saying. So I avoided this for a week, but since I'm the chair of the LPSD, I kind of got asked my opinion on some of these people that were being asked to resign today, and I didn't
yeah.
really have much of an opinion. So because I haven't really followed it, so I figured I better get off my butt and watch the LNC meeting tonight. Although, from the sounds of it, like all the actions in this LNC chain email.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
dude. It's getting crazy in there. I remember I was telling you earlier, I was like, how it's getting so crazy. I can't even keep up and follow all the emails anymore. It's just getting too crazy. But then that's when all the resignations started happening. So I was like, oh my God, I should have just kept following it for a little bit longer. But if you don't know exactly what's going down, I'll give you the quick 5-minute summary because there's a lot of things going on. We'll be doing an episode Sunday, actually, where we'll have the former secretary of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire on. And then he'll give us a boots on the ground perspective of what went down in a lot more detail than what I'll offer right now. But essentially, there are 2 affiliates in New Hampshire for the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. They both are claiming to be the sole affiliate. They both get mad when you acknowledge that there's another one contending to be the affiliate. One affiliate is, I would say, Mises Caucus leaning at the least, maybe even predominantly Mises Caucus. And that's basically every executive committee position except the chair. And then the competing affiliate is the chair of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. I think her name's Gillette Jarvis. She claims she left the party, or the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, and started a new Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. And she got a letter of approval from the LNC chair, Joe Bishop Henchman, who has resigned today. So the Gillette Jarvis went to the Secretary of State of New Hampshire with her paperwork from Joe Bishop Henchman and basically got confirmed by the state of New Hampshire. So that's what they're using to claim that she's legitimate. The Mises Caucus, they were elected by a convention in March by delegates of their state party. So that's their claim to be the legit affiliate. So that's basically the lowdown on what's going on. This all started with some provocative tweets on the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire Twitter account. That were, I don't know, how should I describe them? I guess they're describing them as bold, and then their opposition is describing the tweets as harmful to candidates running for office across the country. For example, one of the tweets basically just said, legalize child labor. Children learn more in work sites than they do in public schools. So that caused a lot of stir. There's a couple other ones that were around about basically the same sentiment on other issues. Yeah, so that's basically the lowdown. So basically, oh, here we go. Kent Sanatima says someone needs to make a flow chart for those of us trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Yeah, we'll start on like square one on Sunday, because we're actually going to have somebody who's involved in this. Basically, I have my knowledge from the LNC email list. I'm just reading what's going on in there. But yeah, Bloody Friday, that's what I'm calling it. Well, there's going to be a big, awkward LNC meeting in about 10 minutes where Joe Bishop Henchman is not going to be chairing. He's resigned. Karen Ann Harless is not going to be the secretary. She's been voted out. There's going to be a Region 8 alternate who's going to be voting for the Region 8 representative that
Has she
resigned
been officially
yesterday.
voted out? I
I
thought it was like still kind
I
of ongoing.
think it's still going, but there's not enough votes of support left that could vote for her to stay, unless these people who are typically against Karen grow a heart. She's probably gonna get voted out, and that's just gonna make there's like I've been saying earlier this week. It's like the more each of these war factions fight each other, the more everybody's just done with both of the factions, and they're like, we don't want to have anything to do with either of you. You guys both suck. And that's basically the position I'm taking. Like, I'm sick and tired of both of them.
Yep. But I heard you joined a faction today. Put you on blast.
Yes, I did.
Hedgehog Watchdog exclusive.
I did join the Radical Caucus like 30 minutes before the Pragmatic Caucus dissolved. So I'll be taking full credit for the dissolution of the Pragmatic Caucus. They got scared when they found out that I was getting caucused up. Nylac 100 says, right on, Devin. Hell yeah, I'll see you in Reno, Nylac 100. But yeah, so I don't know. I can go in more depth, but I don't want to get started getting in more depth because we've got literally like 9 minutes before this meeting starts. I don't want to be in the middle of explaining things when that goes down.
Oh, your buddy.
Oh no! Oh no! Screw the radicals! Oh my God! It's Justin J from Minnesota. Nice. You gonna caucus up there, Justin, for this inter-party war that's happening? What's ironic is I did join the anti-caucus caucus, but they didn't want to organize or anything to like grow the anti-caucus caucus because that's caucusing. So
yeah,
that's pretty much against their thing. So I'm just like God damn it, dude, this isn't.
That's why it's always weird. That's why it's always weird to see a true anarchist involved in a political party because it's like, well, your whole thing is no government, no rulers, no.
Yeah.
So why would you want to be a part of a governing body?
Yeah, dude, I get that all the time, and I don't even really have a good answer for it other than I'm bored. That's literally the answer. Like, I was an anarchist for, I don't know. Can I get that? There we go. Let's get that in there. I was an anarchist before I joined the Libertarian Party of South Dakota. And, anarchists don't really organize. They don't do anything. There's no anarchist meetups. Or if there was, they didn't invite me. So, I just got bored and I was like, what? I think I'll just join, libertarians who are essentially like light anarchists is what I thought when I joined up. And, I guess one libertarian was an anarchist like my first day when I met everybody, and that was CJ Abernathy. That was at that convention in Sioux Falls that blizzarded out. But yeah. So yeah, I've been it's been like 3 years now. I've been involved with the party.
It's an old timer.
I just started my third year as communications director. I think I went a full 2 years. What is it? June 15th, which was just a few days ago, when I was first elected. So, oh no, Justin says I hate all caucuses. Yeah, dude, I don't like them too. I guess I just squatted up with the Rads because I'm sick of the Mises and the Prags always fighting. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna join the caucus that's not like them, and they're radical, and I'm radical. I guess that's what people call me in South Dakota, anyway. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna own it now. I'm gonna own it. I'll be radical if that's what I am.
I guess I'll have to go with that Lib Soc caucus.
Well, yeah. What do you think is going to happen with the pragmatic people since their caucus dissolved? I know that's got to be the biggest caucus, if not the second biggest.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty big, but then again, dude, you can't trust social media. So just because an organization has a strong social media presence or they do some boosts at an event doesn't necessarily mean that they're a well structured and organized group. So I never had an issue with the Pragmatist Caucus. I guess I would probably have thought I aligned a little bit closer with their mission of electing libertarians. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their party structure was like. I mean, it could have been one of those things where once Laura Ebke resigned, I mean, there really wasn't much of a infrastructure left at all, anyways, or something. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Should I put an invite link out for people to join? I guess the meeting's
Yeah,
starting in 5 minutes,
if
so
they
here, I'll
want to
just do it.
join and
I'll do it.
bitch about
If
the
you want to
meeting,
come in for like 5-10 minutes and tell us what you think about what's going on, I just put the invite link to join the studio. We will be playing the LNC meeting shortly. Let's see if they invited me in yet. What the hell? They didn't invite me into the meeting yet? Crap, dude. I better get into this. This is going to be like a full meeting.
if you come on, we're asking you about UFOs.
Just one quick question about UFOs. No big
Yep.
deal. Standard protocol for podcasting.
You're like, the first question is like, so what do you think about this caucus war? Oh, what do you think about UFOs? Real or fake?
All right, it looks like I might be getting let in. Did you like that Survivor meme I made, Greg? I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I'm gonna make that.
Outlet
I'm gonna make that the
outlets.
cover image of this episode. Is gonna have that.
Well,
for
I gotta be
cover.
honest. I mean, all jokes aside, like I'm pretty stunned that the chair stepped down. Although I guess
Yeah.
he kind of screwed up, big time. But yeah, I'm pretty shocked to be honest.
Yeah, I just wish. Apparently, Jarvis was gonna resign over the tweets. She's like, I'm sick of it. I don't know why she didn't have control of the Twitter accounts. Apparently, they're saying that she had control of them, that they were under her email, and she could have just changed the password and just, essentially fired the Twitter team or however it was working. But she didn't do that, and she said she was going to resign. But then a mystery person told her there's another way. And I guess that other way was trying to start a new affiliate that wasn't elected by anybody.
Yeah.
And then she changed the bylaws that made her chair for 4 years. And then increased the dues owed to vote to $100. So it's just like, man, that's pretty sketchy.
I think what people are getting at, and since this is a podcast and we can speculate, you don't have to hold me to it. I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to spread false rumors or nothing, but from what I keep seeing people beat around the bush and hint around about, is that it's that the possibility that the Mises Caucus was able to win so many seats in New Hampshire because they basically showed up with buses full of people the day of convention, paid whatever the membership fee was to become a libertarian, and then they just had the majority voting block. But again, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I keep seeing.
Yeah, that's what you hear. It's hard to tell from it's hard to tell from way out here in South Dakota, dude. Because I don't we wish somebody with a bus would show up and support libertarians. That doesn't happen here, dude. We got to fight and claw to get even 25 people to show up. I shouldn't probably be saying that because now we're gonna get a bus of a bunch of Republicans or something. But yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
All right, we'll find that meeting. Did you find it?
I am currently waiting to be invited.
Oh.
So if they don't invite me in time, I don't know what happened, why I got booted out. I was in it. But they will probably stream this meeting live on YouTube. So we'll probably just watch it from YouTube if I can't get in. But hopefully they let me in. I don't know. The only reason I can think that they wouldn't let me in is if it's full already, but god damn it, dude, I signed up early. Like a half hour ago, I was in this room. I wasn't in their room. I was been waiting for them to let me in for.
They saw you bitching on Facebook. They were like, "No, we're not."
Not letting that crazy guy in here. No way. God damn it, dude. Let me in the meeting.
What about, did you watch Bering Sea Gold? What about Crazy Jesus? Did you see him?
Oh, you know what, dude? I lost my remote. I lost my remote, and I can't click Discovery now without my remote, so I have to put that on hold. But that sounds really interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that, and we can talk about Gold Jesus or whatever.
Watchdog shirts. Go to the link on our page. Buy shirts.
Amlan says, "Hey, I'm from Minnesota. I'm giving my South Dakota girlfriend a back rubs."
You're a lucky guy, South Dakota girl.
Yeah. That's what happens. Minnesota just comes in and takes all our women from South Dakota, apparently. Let me in this meeting. Yeah, I don't. Here, let me get to the Libertarian Party YouTube page. That way.
I can't believe all this like was going on in like some email list too. It's like I was waiting for this meeting tonight, and then hear all this stuff's happening, and I was like, well, what the heck? Did the meeting start? What's going on?
Yeah. I don't see anything yet. Not in the meeting yet. I'm kind of getting mad. Like, what the hell? Oh, it's 8:01 too, man. 8:01. Let me in this meeting.
Censorship.
Being censored. Here's what my screen says. You know, I've been on this screen for I don't know a long time. Nylock 100 or Justin J says my wife is from Minnesota. JBH took the password with him. Dude, that must be the case. Oh, it's connecting. It's connecting. Hey, you know what? I actually forgot to click the audio button. So here, I'm going to have to reshare this again. No worries, though. It's coming back. Just a second here. Small technical glitch. I always forget to press this audio button. I hate having to press it. It should just be automatic. I hope I am muted. I think I'm muted. Here we go.
It's a whole new LNC. No.
Can you hear anybody? People are talking. I can't hear anything, though.
I like how Josh Smith is just plugging his podcast in the background.
Way, and I unfortunately, because
okay, here we go.
Set up, I cannot tell if all of the LNC members are here. Mr. Harris, do you have an easy way to do that?
I do, and it is to make you a co-host of the meeting so that you can robustly view that information.
That would be wonderful.
Ken, may I ask, Tyler?
Yes.
Is it possible to shut off all mics and only open up the National Committee member mics? There's a lot of background noise.
For now, I would request that as well.
I certainly can, if Mr. Molman, if that's what you'd like me to do, I can certainly hit the mute all button.
Whoa, what happened? Kick you out?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What'd you say? I couldn't hear you.
Oh, well, it was weird because you were like in the meeting, like your name was like listed.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I'm in it.
Not like a spectator versus like in the meeting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm having a hard
LNC
time
members
hearing
playing.
you
Yeah,
while
Will we be
the meeting's
broadcasting
playing. So
Yes, I'm sure. I believe actually.
I'm just gonna let it play for 5 minutes.
Recording, but I don't know.
I can broadcast if we are approaching the gavel. I'll ask my co-hosts until we verify that all LNC members are present. We need to stop letting people in from the waiting room. We've hit the 500 cap, and so currently, if there are committee members who are not in this room, they will not be able to enter if we do not leave some space for them. So let's just pause because we're already dropped a couple of people. We're down to 498. Just please discontinue letting people in until we've confirmed that everyone who went in.
What do they look like?
Most watched LNC meeting ever.
Yeah, so it looks like the meeting hasn't started yet.
Is there anybody from the Drinkers Caucus in here?
I'm getting slightly
for tonight.
I'm slightly distracted by the
Anytime
talking.
someone loses decorum, you drink. And that's going to happen a lot.
Excuse me, sorry to, I don't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Phillips. Somebody in the chat is mentioned.
Don't unlock your door.
All right. Somebody in the chat has mentioned something about one of the Columbine shooters. I would like that person to be removed immediately. Don't know who it was. I just saw it come across my. All right. That person needs to go right now.
If one of the co-hosts could look at the chat and find that, you should be empowered with that capability.
I think there was a misunderstanding, which it's fine, but there was somebody named Eric Harris, and they just made a joke saying Eric Harris wears Dylan Klebold. It was a bad joke. It wasn't any kind of threat or anything of the sort.
All I saw was
can
Dylan
we ask
Klebold
them to
come
be
across
removed?
my screen. That's all I know.
I would like to have some more people. Here you go. Take a drink. I would like to have some more decorum at this meeting, and I think the gallery should not be indulged in shitty behavior. So I would ask that we police the building.
That's asking a lot, Susan.
Look, I don't even know why they let
Yes,
people
I know it
speak.
is from you.
Other than the LNC.
They're here. They're here.
There's going to be a lot.
Why would you let everyone just randomly?
There's going to be a lot of things
talk?
being said in
I
the
don't
chat.
get it.
Just ignore it. I mean,
I'd actually like to just
fucking have flashbacks to Orlando.
executive committee meeting.
I agree. I agree.
Let's do this. Let's mute everybody right now. I'm looking to see that it looks like we might have one David Sexton here or not.
What?
They're talking to you.
Talking to me.
Yeah, just tell them you don't know how you got
People have
in
to
there.
raise their
Hey,
hand to
I'm
speak.
here.
We'll just be unmuting their mic the whole meeting and talking shit.
I will tell you that this meeting was set up before I sat in this chair for the moment, so I did not get to choose the mechanism or how. We'll talk about that in a minute when we gavel in. All right, I see Sexton in this room, I think.
I'm here. Mr. Sexton has been in the
Video.
now.
All right.
Yeah.
It looks like then I think we have everybody. Can we? Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Ms. Secretary, Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Certainly. Ms. Bilyeu?
Here.
I don't
Mr.
get why the
Bowen?
video is
Ms.
crashing.
Epke? Here. Mr. Hagan?
Here.
I am present. Mr. Hewitt?
I guess I need to start making Ashley do this. I didn't know.
I'm here.
Mr.
Hewitt's here.
Okay, thank you. I heard Ms. Hogarth. Mr. Longstreth?
Here.
And Mr. Molman is here.
Yes,
Mr.
I am
Nana?
here.
Mr. Nikela? Mr. Phillips?
Here.
So apparently, Karen Ann
Ms.
Harlos
Darwar?
has not been
Here.
removed officially
Smith?
since
Here.
she's still the
Mr.
secretary.
Wendt?
Yeah, that's what Justin J is saying too.
I heard him earlier.
Here.
I'm
Sorry,
now
mute.
good. You're welcome. I'm now going to call of the alternates just to have. a
Kent
complete record.
Santana says, "Wow,
Adams?
LNC doesn't seem any less of a CF than it
Pereira?
was a decade ago."
Present, can we start the YouTube stream?
Mr. Valenti,
Present.
Mr. Hall,
Present.
Mr. Sexton,
Sean Gregory Rogers says, "Long live
Mr.
Karen."
Buckman,
Yeah, I thought they were talking about me. Apparently, they're talking about Sexton, some Sexton
Mr.
dude.
Lucchini,
I got confused. Like,
Present.
I was like, me? Why would you want to talk to
Mr.
me?
Eppinger.
Well,
Sure,
what
everyone's
I was
here.
saying earlier was you were
Excellent.
listed
All right.
in that main
With that said,
9
Yeah.
people, so I don't know how you would
LNC members
accidentally
making a
got
motion,
in there.
Before we call to order, if anyone would like to make that motion again regarding the chat.
Justin J. I'm guessing they haven't
I'd
closed the
like to
ballot
move
on her
that
removal.
we close the chat because of liability issues associated with the last call.
I object.
I object.
It hasn't even been seconded yet.
That's okay.
Second.
Wow.
Second by Mr. Wendt.
So they didn't want to get rid of the
Um,
chat
there was
already.
objection to this.
That's bull,
Is
dude.
there need for discussion?
The
Yes.
chat's not distraction. You can just click the chat box and not have to
Shall
look
I
at it.
address the motion?
Yes, Ms. Hogarth, you made the motion. You honor us.
Yeah, I think periods of public comment at these meetings are very important,
Yeah.
and I'd like us to have one at this meeting. But in a physical meeting, in addition to periods of public comment, we have people in the gallery watching. What we don't have them doing is shouting obscenities at each other while we're in our meeting. I'd like us to have one at this meeting. And if they do, we ask them to leave. So unless we can have a moderator who can take, someone who is shouting obscenities out or improprieties out, and if we do, that's fine. But unless we do, and I'm not sure we have the manpower for that at the rate that comments flow, then I think we should probably just shut it down.
Anyone would like?
On a personal privilege, Mr. Chairman, you are very hard to hear.
I am very sorry. Okay, is that any better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It turns out that talking at the microphone helps. Okay, so Ms. Harlos, I believe you were
Yes.
on deck to speak on this.
Okay, yes. I'm absolutely opposed to when you need to not only shut the door, but you need to mute. Please mute because there's an echo. Thank you. So I'm absolutely opposed to closing down the chat. If somebody doesn't like it, they cannot look at it. I understand there was some concern about personal liability, but the fact is that our YouTube channel also has live chat and people are chatting there as well. People are chatting on social media. We are not taking personal liability for what's in chat here. We've never pretended to be. And right now, there is a lot of righteous anger against the LNC. They've gotten hundreds of emails on a topic that appear to be being ignored. The least we can do is let them say their piece in chat. We've been very censorious and unlibertarian, I believe, and been much more concerned about form over substance. And the members need to have the right to vent. Otherwise, we've learned what happens just in the world when you silence people. They then do other things that become dumb. Words are what we have since we don't believe in violence. And the fact is, I wish that we were as much concerned about corruption as we were about chat boxes. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of closing the chat?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Is that Mr. Wendt?
No, this is Mr. Nana.
Oh, Mr. Nana, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Nana.
I don't know if I'm speaking in favor of totally closing the chat, but what I'm going to say is if there is nobody with the ability to moderate it in real time, then I'm going to say that we should. I think that there's probably a way to.
Hold on a second, Mr. Nana. Hold on. Someone needs to mute.
Scott J. Mute.
Oh, it's still going.
Aaron
Mr. Harris,
Morano.
can you take care of that?
I am playing mute button whack-a-mole as we speak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Mr. Nana, I apologize.
See, that's all I'm saying. Why would
That's okay.
I mean,
If we're not going to
some
have a way
mass
to moderate it, probably need to err on the side of caution and not have it open. There are places for folks that chat that aren't this chat. But if we don't turn it off, that's fine. There is a way to mute it because like on my end, if I don't mute it, it pops up on my screen constantly. So for those who need to know how to mute it, you can go to the chat, and then if you're on Android, at least in the top right corner, there's a little bell. If you click that, then you can click mute, and then that'll allow you to read through the chat when you're able to, but it won't bombard you when you're trying to watch your screen.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nana. Is there anyone else who would like to speak against?
I'm going to speak in favor.
Okay, we'll ask one more time if there's anyone against. Not hearing anyone. Who was it that said they wanted to speak in favor?
It's Joshua Smith. I have my hand raised, but I don't know if you're
Smith?
seeing it or not.
I'm not seeing it right now. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
This is the first time I've been in this seat, so I'm getting used to
Sure.
the new interface.
Sure,
So-
absolutely. No, I totally get it. Look, these people, a large portion of these members that are in the chat are dues-paying members of the party, and we shouldn't have the right to take their chatting away from them. But even more so, if we take the chat away, we're just going to have more people popping in to say random things through their microphone. So it's better to have the chat and let them speak in there than it is to have them popping up, cutting off our time and, endorsing the wrestling caucus. So I say we leave the chat open. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Leave the wrestling caucus alone.
I was speaking against the motion. Okay.
Against the motion.
is-
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the motion?
I would.
Sorry, my new setup problems. Who is it that said they would like to speak in favor?
Mr. Wendt?
Mr. Wendt. I guess I had a premonition you would speak. Go ahead, Mr. Wendt.
Thank you. Yes, to speak, Ms. Hogarth said it well, is that we have a public comments and then we have the gallery that is there. The chat is an official part of our meeting, and there is a difference between our cap of 500 and everybody who wants to get on. We have people continuously coming on here. On comments on YouTube, that's a domain of YouTube, but the fact that we are paying for the Zoom and running the Zoom, that's the domain of this meeting. So it is inappropriate to have public comments strewn throughout.
Wendt, is there anyone else that would like to speak against this motion?
Michaela here.
Stephen Nicola. Okay, Mr. Nicola, go ahead.
I would be fine if we were in a coliseum having this meeting in the middle with the 500 people yelling at us. Let them speak. I'd like to call the question, please.
Okay.
I like that.
Second.
David Green, you're on. Do you want to say anything while we have
Mr. Nicola,
before we start getting started on the meeting?
called the question.
Mr. Higgins.
Second on that.
Not really. I am here more to observe.
Okay.
Okay. So.
All right. If you want to say
I
something,
am-
just message me in
I'm
private
still
chat, and
trying-
I'll bring you back on.
What's going on?
Okay.
Is there objection to closing debate on this item? Not hearing any objection. So with no objection, I guess we should just go ahead and do a roll call vote since we're online. Can't do a show of hands easily. Madam Secretary, can you just call the roll? Madam Secretary.
Chair, can you make sure you reissue the motion and which way is yes, which way is no?
Certainly. So we are voting on whether or not to close the chat. A vote yes would mean that the chat would be closed. A vote no would leave the chat open.
Yeah, that was my bad. I messed that up, Ken. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, just one moment because I'm clearing a ballot form. I'm sure you all will excuse me for being very distracted this afternoon and not have one previously prepared. Ms. Bilyeu.
To clarify, no is leaving the chat open?
Yes, ma'am.
How about no?
Mr. Bowen.
I vote no.
Ms. Epke.
No.
Mr. Hagan.
No.
I vote no. Mr. Hewitt.
I vote no.
Ms. Hogarth.
Yes.
Mr. Longstreth.
No.
Mr. Nana.
I'm super confused. Can somebody please tell me which way to vote? Is yes a vote to keep the chat open, or is yes a vote?
Yes.
To close?
No closes the chat. Yes. Leave or
Wait.
no keeps the chat open, and yes closes the chat.
Correct.
Jesus. Yes.
Mr. Nikela,
No.
Mr. Phillips,
No.
Mr. Roudsep,
No.
Ms. Sarwark,
No.
Mr. Smith,
Nope.
Mr. Went,
Yes.
Mr. Acting Chair, we have 3 yes, 12 no.
I won't vote. You're going to hear me do that a lot tonight.
All right.
Well, you're not
sounds nice.
supposed to.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway. All right. So with a vote of 3 to 12, the motion fails. I will say that in my role that I have at this moment, if there is something in chat that opens this body up to legal liability, I do believe that I have the authority to ask staff to blot that right down if it creates a legal liability. Does anyone object to that? Okay, I'm hearing no objection to that. So that will be the rule. I would ask people to be nice, but that doesn't end well, so I'll just leave it be. Okay. At this point, the only thing that was actually on the agenda, or actually, the next thing is public comment. Is there a motion to in any way limit public comment from the LNC members?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Harless.
I believe it'd be fair to do the same as we did the other night and have an hour of public comment. And if it seems like there's still a lot of people, we can always move to extend it. But this has been a very controversial time. I know that's a long time period, but I believe our members deserve it. So I'm moving to have 1 hour of public comment.
I'll second.
I would like to move to amend.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second, and we go into discussion now. There's a motion to amend, and I did not hear who the motion to amend was.
That was from Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Phillips, go ahead.
With the 1 hour is perfect. I would like to add the same restriction we had last time as well, which is with 1 minute speaking time.
And I'll second that.
And I accept that. I meant to say that. Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
All right. What sounds like, so we're in the amendments. So let's do that first. Is there objection to limiting these speakers to 1 minute apiece? I'm not hearing any objections, so we're going to go back to the main motion as amended, that we will have 1 hour of public comment and 1 minute per speaker. Is there any discussion on that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that was.
It's Mr. Nana.
Mr. Nana, go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't have any objection to public comment or the time or anything. I would just ask respectfully that everybody keep it to the topics of tonight's meeting. If you want to remind everybody what those are, Mr. Chair.
I object to that well, I don't object to the reminder, but I object to that instruction.
It was just a request. I'm not making it like any, I'm just,
Okay.
Just friendly request. That's all. Just a friendly request.
Thank you, Mr. Nana.
Yeah. So, all right, Mr. Nana, thank you. And to that point, the agenda item is to discuss the latest concerns in the New Hampshire affiliate. That was what this meeting was called with for everyone's, for a reminder for everyone. Is there anyone who would like to speak on the 1 hour, 1 minute that we're proposing, the 1 hour of time, 1 minute per speaker?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Joshua Smith.
Go ahead.
I'll call the question.
Okay. Question's been called. Is there a second for that? I don't need a second for that. do I?
Mr. Acting
So-
Chair, there is
Yes.
comments in chat that you're very difficult to hear.
Okay. Let me see what I can do about
Apologies.
that.
I'm trying to
That's all
be
right.
a pain.
No, that is quite all right. Hold on a moment while I try to figure that out.
Someone suggested eating the mic, Ken, if you could do that.
But I'm not hungry and I'm on a diet. Give me 1 moment here. I think I know what's wrong. Let's try this.
You speak towards the camera, you sound a lot louder.
Well, it's all about. I've got a directional mic. I think that might be part of it. But can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, it's better that way for sure.
Okay. All right. I will lean into the microphone. All right. So, all right. The question has been called, I believe. All right. So we go to a vote on 1 hour of public speaking and 1 minute speeches apiece. Let me just do this. Is there an objection of that? I'm not hearing any objections. So without objection, we will have public comment for 1 hour. Each speaker will be limited to 1 minute each.
Take notes, Greg. That's a good
let's do it.
move right there by the chair or the new chair.
What's
You want to have
up?
somebody take time like last time?
Yes, actually, that would be wonderful.
Just asking for objection and not taking votes.
I know Miss Ebke did it last time. Does someone else want to do it, or does Miss Ebke want to do it this time?
Ms. Epke did such a very good job last time.
She did.
Well,
That's why I'm asking.
I'm happy to do it if nobody has any objections. Or if you want to appoint me, whatever.
No, I think that would be great.
Okay.
And Mr. Harris, I'm going to need your help. I am trying to figure out this interface, but all I see here is participants in a waiting room. I'm not seeing.
Mr. Acting Chair, if you scroll down, you will see a section under participants labeled in the meeting.
So just for
you will see
everyone
hands there in
viewing
the
at
order
home,
that they have been
what
raised.
we're going to
that is
see
effective
here
for
over the
speaker
course of
queue,
the next
either
hour
myself or one of
is
our
the Libertarian Party's best and brightest minds getting on the microphone.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Tell
Harrison.
us
And
what
again,
they.
I apologize to everyone. This is the first time I've been in this seat. So it appears as though the first speaker in the queue is Miss Ashley Shade. Miss Shade?
Hello, and thank you all for having this meeting tonight. I just want to say that this has been one of the most difficult weeks I've ever seen or have ever been a part of in political realm. We are tearing each other apart. We're destroying our own party, and our efforts have been focused on destroying each other when we have a government that is trying to destroy us. It is abhorrent the way everything has happened and the way everybody is treating each other. And we have a choice to make tonight, which is to unite our party or to kill it. That's where we're at. The decision is yours, members of the LNC. Is the Libertarian Party going to exist after tonight? That is the question that we all must answer. Thank you.
Oof, I think that's a little extreme. We're definitely
And
going to
just so
exist still
speakers
after
know, when you get your
tonight.
time called, please finish your sentence, but don't make it a run-on sentence, please. All right, next in queue, Miss Amy Mason.
I just want to say
Kent Molman, he was the vice chair.
Quite frustrating, kind of like what Ashley just said. It's been a bit embarrassing lately to call myself a libertarian. I just hope y'all sort yourselves out, regardless of what happens with New Hampshire. I do think that recusal of any members on the LNC who have shown a bias is in order. And I do think that certain members of the current board, as someone who is mentally ill, needs to stop blaming their mental illness on their actions and take a little bit of accountability. I yield my time.
Shots fired.
Mr. Acting Chair, could I make a suggestion and name the next two that are in line? So the person who's up and then the next person so that people can be ready.
That would be great. Next is Andrew Moore, followed by Brandon McGlone.
Let's see. Can everyone hear me okay? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Just one thing, of course, I want to say, I'm from Massachusetts. Ashley Shade's the chair over there. I'm the membership director. And, I agree 100% with her. And I hope, we still have a party tonight. We can all work together peacefully and all the right decisions are made. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Now my cue changed. That's very strange, but I know that Brandon McGlone was next. I know for a fact that I had him next. So Brandon McGlone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just going to say that as someone who's fairly new to the party, but gotten active as quickly, this is disappointing. It's something that we looked at from the outside whenever I was in a different party, and said, well, that's why they never win. That's what they do. They disorganize and they fall apart. And so anyway, it's just sad. It's disappointing. But I do have faith, specifically in the chair, to do a great job with this and in this body. So best wishes. Good luck.
Thank you. Next, I have, it looks like Aaron Reinsmith, followed by Adam Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to first off state that I'm appreciative of you guys stepping up throughout this whole week, but more importantly, I wanted to talk about the New Hampshire stuff. And this week, or 10 days, whatever it's been, has shown that we really don't need the LNC getting involved. This should have been something that the state itself should have handled between its two factions, and then the LNC should have appointed the one that essentially won out. So I would urge each of you guys who haven't voted, or those of you that have, to make your vote to disaffiliate New Hampshire and let them sort it out rather than getting involved. I yield the rest of my time.
Pretty sure Mr. Gilbert was next, but he's fallen off my list.
I have a completely different list than you, which is strange.
I'm just working with the tech that I have. And actually, that's the thing. Mine's alphabetical. That's probably not a real list. That's why everybody's got an A in their name. Mr. Harris, do you have a better list than this?
I do have a non-alphabetical list, which is likely correct. If you would like me to manage that.
You are more than welcome to call on the next speaker who's actually at the top of the queue, Mr. Smith.
Mr.
Harris, sorry.
I show top of the queue, Mr. Vermin Supreme, followed by Zach Britt.
Mr. Supreme.
Oh, shit, Vermin Supreme!
Floor's yours.
The boot man himself.
Turn your volume down.
Mr. Supreme, are you there?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. You're very soft, but we can hear you.
Thank you. It's me, Vermin Supreme. You know, the guy with the boot. Remember me? I want to say messaging is very important. Messaging is how those outside the party understand how we within the party see and present ourselves. Love, compassion, and empathy are the messages my campaign has always tried to project, and what I believe the Liberty Movement is about. Lately, there has been some terrible messaging going on that reflects very badly on the Liberty Movement. It is very easy to say nasty things. It is very easy to tear people down. There should be little tolerance for bigotry and hate and edgelord shit posts on our official channels. I am, of course, talking about the comment section of these meetings. I would request that everyone be respectful, think twice, and be nice. Thank you.
Here, Mr. Supreme. Thank you.
Dude, is
I forget
Steve Rydell
I have
really
Zach
Vermin
Britt.
Supreme?
I have Zach Britt, and then Will.
That'd be fun if they were related.
I was just listening to Vermin's voice there, and I'm like, that sounds exactly
Hey y'all,
like
Zach Britt
Steve.
from Mississippi. I walked into this Zoom call not really knowing what I was going to say, and I still
When he's
really
not running
don't
for
have much of
office,
a
he's
clue.
mining for gold.
I just want to say I'm just upset, and I've been upset for a few days now. I messaged every single member of the LNC my thoughts on the situation, and only one of you responded to me, and I'm actually really upset about that. This is a situation that, you know, that we're at a crossroads here. We're either from this day forward, we're either going to be a social club that focuses on having just messaging that certain people like, or we're going to focus on a party that, you know, actually wins elections. And recently we've seen a shift from winning elections to now only talking about messaging. And I think that's wrong. We should get back to the business of winning elections and seeing liberty in our lifetimes. That's what this party is about. We're not about having messaging that only certain people like. Certain people are obviously not going to like it. We've seen elected representatives leave recently. A a lot of my friends have left recently. So I just want to say, you do the right thing and disaffiliate New Hampshire. Thank you.
Mr. Britt, I will note that we have been bombarded with emails. So I apologize. I know I personally did not see you in the list because there are thousands. So my sincere apologies. Let's see, Mr. Combs.
Thank you. At this past Tuesday's meeting, I called on Mr. Bishop Henchman to resign, so I'm glad that he has. I think that his behavior throughout this saga has been atrocious, and I'm glad that the vote on whether to disaffiliate New Hampshire has failed. I think that it's a travesty that there had to be a debate on whether to return the property of the rightful affiliate in the first place, because there was never any debate about that, and that was admitted by Mr. Henchman's motion in the first place. You can't disaffiliate a party that was never affiliated to begin with, and the bylaws say there can only be one affiliate in any given state. So the fact of the matter is, it was ridiculous and hypocritical for Mr. Bishop Henchman to vote not to give their property back, and then to follow that by bringing a motion to disaffiliate. It is welcome news that Mr. Bishop Henchman has resigned, and I hope that anyone who's voting yes on suspending Ms. Harlos will soon follow him. And I also call on Mr. Wendt to resign, because his vote to disaffiliate, his vote to suspend Ms. Harlos has been taken without consultation with his region, and I can tell him for a fact that a bunch of the Region 1 ex-cons are currently organizing to demand his resignation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Combs. Mr. Harris, who are the next two speakers in the queue?
Would you like me to give you more than two, Mr. Molman, so that you can have a list to work off of?
Yeah, it'd be nice if there was a way for me to actually see a list directly from you, but I don't know that there's a way to do that.
And there is not, but if you have a way to take it down, I can read names to you.
Okay.
Or we can continue going two at a time. It's your
we can do four.
Mr.
Let's
Chair.
do four.
Mr. Chair.
Yes. Yes.
May I suggest perhaps we take a 5-minute recess and Mr. Harris try and give you a quick crash course and see if you guys can unalphabetize the order for yourself. That might immensely help things.
Yeah, I am not. I've actually used Zoom quite a bit, and I am not seeing a way to unalphabetize on my side. It could be because I'm a Linux user.
Here's the thing: if we take a recess, he can just give you like 30 names, and you can just jot them down.
That's what I was actually more thinking. Is if we take a recess, we can get the names.
I may. Mr. Levy, who volunteered as a co-host, has just informed me that he can send you a list, Ken. So why don't I give you a short list of names, and then that will cover the time between now and when we receive those. I have the next speakers in the queue as Sasha Cohen, Rich Perez, James Jenneman, and Gus Joseph, in that order.
All right, I got the first two, Cohen and Perez. Who were the last two?
James Jenneman and Gus Joseph.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. And I apologize, everyone, again, brand new at this seat. Mr. Cohen, Sasha Cohen, you are recognized.
Sure. My name is Sasha Cohen. For those who don't know me, I am one of our elected libertarians. Less than 250 in the country hold that title. I am absolutely disgusted by the behavior of the LNC over this last week. There is a clear necessity to disaffiliate the New Hampshire affiliates. We are a big tent party, but there is no tent big enough to hold racists and people of color. No tent big enough to hold transphobes and trans people. No tent big enough to hold bigots and their victims. And if the LNC chooses to side with holding bigots in the party, I can no longer be a part of it. I have a press release prepared on Monday announcing my exit from the Libertarian Party because I cannot and will not lend legitimacy to a party that has decided to go into bed with bigotry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Mr. Perez.
Hey, everybody. Rich Perez, Florida. I'm also an elected libertarian as of this past weekend. And I would like to say that a few things. Number one, I stand with those on this committee who have stood for the people and the privacy and property rights as good libertarians should. So Joshua Smith, Karen Ann Harlos, amongst others, bravo to you. I'm also pretty tired, me being Puerto Rican and Cuban, with black grandparents.
Well, tomorrow, Cole,
being
you'll
called
have
a
to start it
racist and
over
a
from the
bigot
beginning.
for my associations with the Mises Caucus. Okay, anybody who wants to have that conversation, by all means, I'll be at Reno next year. I invite you to have that conversation with me face to face and let me know if you think I'm a bigot. I would love to have that conversation, and I would love to change your mind. I yield the rest of my time. Angela 2022. I'll see you guys there in Reno. Holla at your boy. Ask me about me.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Mr.
Guy's
Jenneman.
elected.
Holla at your boy.
Okay, I can unmute. I can't start my own video, so you guys will have to just believe that I exist. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me. Thank you to everybody assembled today for listening. I come before you as... All right, I will start my video. Thanks, Mr. Harris. I am a gay Mises Caucus member. I am a Texan by birth who grew up celebrating Juneteenth. I'm a Minnesotan, a Minneapolitan by adoption, who has witnessed the murder of 3 black men in the last 5 years at the hands of police. Police like Mr. Buffman, who is who's representing me in this vote against Ms. Harlos. I understand bigotry. I came out of the closet in the year 2001, before we had marriage equality, before we had in vogue corporations recognizing, the rainbow logo, rainbow symbol on their logo and all this bullshit. I'm not here to stand for corporatism. I would ask that I be given a little bit more time because of the camera issue at the beginning.
Go.
Just finish your sentence, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
I invite any person who accuses the Mises Caucus or Ms. Harlos or Mr. Smith of bigotry, of hatred, of any of these horrible accusations. This caucus that has welcomed me and so many black, brown, and GSM members of the libertarian community to prove it. Out of context, Facebook comments do not count as proof. Accusations from elected libertarians who have left the party do not count.
Thank you. Thank you.
Join me in unifying this party.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Mr. Joseph, Gus Joseph, you're up next.
I spoke at the last meeting, and the reception was mixed.
I told you we'd get some
and I'm
good
not
ones.
ashamed, and I'm not going to apologize for what I said, nor am I going to apologize for what I later stated on social media. I'm disappointed in this party. I am disappointed in the individuals of this party, but I am not crying. I am not sad. I'm not triggered. So keep it to yourself. You said to prove it. I don't owe you anything. What I've experienced, what people I know have experienced speaks for itself. We need liberation now, and we need liberation forever. I am done with civility. I'm not going to bend to your absurd demands. I am not going to bend to your protesting. They treat you well because you joined them. If you don't join them, you deal with all their bigotry because they don't have anyone else to take it out on. Joshua, you laugh, and frankly, that's sad because
I wasn't laughing. I was laughing at something else. Sorry.
Sure you were. Joe Bishop Hedgman showed professionalism, and none of you do, and I'm disappointed. Liberation is what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, that's the end of the queue that I had, and I don't see a list. I don't know if that was emailed to me, but my email is being...
Next is Nathan.
Excuse me, sorry. Ken, I sent it to you on Facebook Messenger.
All right, I will look for it there. Give me just one moment. I apologize. Come on, Facebook, quickly.
For the time being, the next individual I have is Nathan Stevens, if that's what everybody else has.
You know what they should do? They should start playing music when they want people to stop talking, like at the Academy Awards.
Hi, Mark Stevens. I'm the LPF Region 8 alternate. What are we doing here? We could play internal politics all we want, but why are people donating to this party if all we're gonna bicker over is who has the Twitter login for this one state affiliate? Why? I am really, really ashamed and disappointed that this is what we need to spend our time doing. This is more pressing than, I don't know, the ATF kicking down doors and killing people, more than the tyrannical government. No, we need to deal with a Twitter handle, a Twitter fucking login. Why are we? I am ashamed. I don't know what else I can say. You guys get the point. I would just hope, one, an investigation into what happened here. Two, I don't know the answer, but something to make sure it doesn't happen again. And lastly, a standard set of operating procedures so we don't have to have this huge explosion of BS.
Thank you.
I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haynes, Patrick Haynes. And then after Patrick Haynes will be Dan Lewis, Tyler Walton, Mary Gelt, and Ned Kelly, both on the same account. So that's the next few people in line there.
Hi there. I'm Patrick Hines. I'm the current chair of the DC Libertarian Party. And I just want to say, for the first time since I joined the LP, I'm actually embarrassed to call myself a member of the Libertarian Party. Over this past week, it's become clear that the LNC has no desire to be professional or help get rid of the stigma that the LP is a joke. By allowing a few members to conduct a partisan witch hunt in an effort to take over the party, you are contributing to that stigma and enabling the exact behaviors that we condone Republicrats for. As the chair of the DC LP and former candidate who successfully fought to keep the LP on the ballot here, I'm struggling to find a reason for us to be affiliated with such a dumpster fire and strongly considering a move to disaffiliate. I hope you guys give me a reason to keep this affiliation, but there needs to be changes, starting with removing Ms. Harlos and Mr. Smith.
Mr. Chair, point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Ms. Adams is texting me that she is waiting to be let back into the room.
Mr. Harris, if you could take care of that for me, please. Let Ms. Adams back in. Or someone over there.
Ms. Adams is not in the waiting room, sir.
I added her.
She's being admitted now.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I believe that means Mr. Lewis is next.
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Vermin Supreme, for your message. I wish more people in our party would be like Vermin, who is just full of love. I also want to thank Josh Smith earlier for that shout out for the Professional Wrestling Caucus. And I think the only solution is that in New Hampshire, the two affiliates have a War Games match. So yeah, join Libertarian Party Professional Wrestling Caucus. I yield the rest of my time. Oh, also our champion, Ashley Shade, I'm throwing her a shout out. She is the Pro Wrestling Caucus champion.
Thank you, Mr. No, that flummoxed me. Was that Mr. Walton that was just speaking? Or was that Mr. Lewis?
It was Mr. Lewis.
Mr. Lewis. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Mr. Walton.
Hello, my name is Tyler Walton. I'm from New York. I think this is coming up on probably like 10 years of me being a libertarian. I came into like the Ron Paul movement. I got introduced to Austrian economics and philosophy, and I to this day still love reading economics and philosophy. But it's harder and harder to take this party seriously. And over the years, you see the same pattern of like, hey, these people are getting pointed out for all these issues, and we ignore it until they really go off the deep end, and they just get worse and worse because we let it happen. And I said it before on Tuesday about we need to draw the line in the sand. It absolutely needs to be drawn. I absolutely believe in disaffiliating the LPNH for what they've done. With that, I'll yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Next I have perhaps, and there's two people on the same account it sounds like, but Mary Garrett.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say that I have been just stressed out and disappointed over what's been going on here lately. You guys, there is enough anti-liberty crap going on in the world and coming against us every day that we should be out there battling, and indeed we are. To be going through this stuff between us that, like others have pointed out, is embarrassing. I haven't been posting about this on my own page because I don't want people in the two main parties seeing that we're falling apart. It's embarrassing. And please, anybody who's coming against Karen Ann Harlow, you have something better to do. She is the hardest working member of the LNC, and she does so much for us, and I wish everyone would appreciate her more. And I cede my time to Ned Kelly, my partner here.
Can I get a full minute, though?
Yes. Ms. Hebke, please reset the time to 1 minute for Mr. Kelly.
Cool. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Ms. Girl, because that's awesome. And yeah, her last name is pronounced Girlt, as in you go Girlt. She's running for BPU in Wyandotte County, Kansas. Check her out. Second of all, I want to thank Ken Molman for the Get Fit LP caucus.
You're out of time, buddy.
You're an inspiration. I've lost 35 pounds this year. More to go. Thank you, sir. I consider myself friends with Joe Bishop Henchman, and I love him. I think he's made some mistakes. I don't know if he needed to resign, but he definitely made some mistakes around this issue. I consider myself friends with Karen Ann Harlow, and I love her. Please support her going forward. There's nothing substantial in the accusations against her, nothing at all. Perhaps a little bit about sharing archived videos on her personal YouTube. You could just make a policy around that. You can't suspend her for this. It's gross. Thank you.
It's time. All right. Next up, we have Ms. Tricia Butler, Mr. William Patton, and Mr. Theodore Gherkin. Ms. Butler, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and you're doing a great job. My name is Tricia Butler. I'm an elected Libertarian, Frontier candidate, and regional coordinator in the Libertarian Party of Tennessee. Shout out Montgomery County. I do not speak for all of Tennessee, and I encourage each state to focus inward and protect your own membership and affiliates. My heart is breaking. Caucus wars have proven destructive and toxic. I just want to be libertarian. Individualism is good. Collectivism is bad. I won't be leaving. Some of us need to stay behind and clean up this rubble. I hold fast hope that we will rise from these ashes. I yield my time.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Mr. Patton.
Is that me, Ken? William Patton?
William Patton,
I'll
yes,
drop
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
I apologize. William Patton, Moore County Libertarian Party Chair, Treasurer, Whiskey Region, Tennessee. Shout out to Whiskey Region. I would just like to ask the LNC.
I want to move to the Whiskey
think
region.
carefully about what has happened.
Same.
And if there is to be an investigation into what has happened with the affiliate in New Hampshire, that we use people outside of the LNC or any of the various caucuses involved in the cage fight. We need to use outside people. Names are being floated already for this thing. None of those can be trusted, including, and I'm speaking as a Mises Caucus member from state coordinator from Tennessee. I don't care if it was Jeff Douglas or Paige Sexton. We need outside people to put eyes on this and tell us what happens. We can make sure it does not happen again. You cannot attack a state affiliate like this. It cannot stand, or this party will shatter. Thank you, sir. I yield my time.
Mr. Harris, there are storms rolling through mine and Ken's part of the country. Ken just lost power, but he's coming back, so you'll have to let him back in.
All right. I will keep an eye out for him. In the meantime, is there somebody who wants to keep public comment going?
I can call names if you want me to.
I would suggest Mr. Hagan.
All right. Actually, Mr. Tyler, do you have the list?
I will. Yeah, I will be Mr. Hagan. I will make you a co-host so that you can view the list as well.
Actually, just want to read off the next two people.
You should now have visibility on it. I've got Theodore Gherkin and then Robin Dominic.
All right, Theodore Gherkin, go ahead.
Thank you. So as the vice chair of the Libertarian Youth Caucus, which is an officially non-ideological organization, I've seen some of the amazing work that we've done around the country, whether that's just bringing people into the Libertarian Party or having our members work on campaigns to get people elected. I've seen Mises Caucus and formerly Pragmatic Caucus people working together on some amazing goals and projects. And I think that that really needs to be the focus of the Libertarian National Committee. I think that it is amazing that we have caucuses fighting for, more radical or more pragmatic messages. But I think at the heart of our party, we need to have a shared respect, a shared understanding. I don't think that we should, be trying to kick people off of the executive committee for doing not very much at all. I think that while we talk about the different issues and the direction that our party needs to head in, we also need to understand that working within the common framework and working within respect, civility, and understanding can do some amazing things to advance liberty in our party. Thank you.
And I see Mr. Molman is back.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hagan. Apparently the power, what else can go wrong here? The power decided to blink and my internet went down. Everything else was up, but the internet was down. So where were we at in the list, Mr. Hagan?
That was Theodore. Who was next, Mr. Tyler?
Sorry, Robin Dominic was up next, followed by Eric Harris. That's where we are in the list, Mr. Molman.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Dominic, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Robin Dominic, Vice Chair of Missouri. This party has room for lots of voices, and one voice is not going to reach all the ears out there that need to come to Liberty. We need to have slightly different messaging to reach all the people who are coming to us from all across the political spectrum. Now, we are all going to have our own biases, our own motivations for doing the things that we do. And that's just as true on the LNC as it is anywhere else, whether or not you're a part of a caucus. I want everybody to be a libertarian. In fact, I'd like everybody to become an anarchist eventually. And that's not going to happen if we keep fighting. So either everybody needs to resign or everybody needs to get their head out of their butt and work together and bring this ship forward and keep marching on and getting people elected. I yield.
All right, thank you. Let's see here. I have Eric Harris followed by Michael Heiss and then Matthew Losby. Mr. Harris.
Can I have my video so if I can see me? Thank you. I'm Eric Harris. I'm in Indiana, and I've been seeing what's happening ever since the whole New Hampshire thing started. And I'm appalled, really appalled about what's happening. I'm kind of happy that George Bishop Hetman resigned, but I have worked with Carrie Ann Hollis in the past, and she's a good person to work with. And Richard Longstreth should resign immediately because he keeps flip-flopping issues and not principled enough to be a libertarian. So I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mr. Heiss.
So it's really important to remember why we are here tonight. This is not about caucuses. It's not about messaging or anything else. We're here because there was a group of people who lost very badly at convention in New Hampshire, and they were very upset that they lost and that they couldn't exercise unilateral control over a Twitter account that was unapologetically speaking libertarian principles. And instead of losing with grace, these spiteful people instead colluded with the national chair to steal a state party and its assets. The LNC spent more time pointing fingers at Karen Ann Harlos for interviewing the parties involved in this crime than it did denouncing the authoritarian lockdowns. Hardly anybody on the LNC cared to engage in fact-finding. There needs to be resolutions, but now that those that have evaded investigations by resigning, we likely won't even get there. But there was no grounds to even try to disaffiliate New Hampshire. There's no grounds to boot Karen Ann Harlos. And Karen Ann, we love you. We got your back. You are a mongoose in a viper pit up there. And even if this retaliation is successful, we will put you right back where you belong in Reno. Take human action. Angela McArdle, 2022.
Mr. Heiss, Mr. Losby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to note that there has been a clear divide on the LNC this past week. There has been those who are concerned about decorum, and there's been those who are concerned about property rights and due process. I would like to thank those on the LNC who are concerned with due process, especially Mr. Smith and Ms. Harlos. To those of you who are voting to disaffiliate the LPNH or to remove Ms. Harlos from the committee, I say shame, shame, shame. Thank you. I yield.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Losby. Oh, there it is. There, Clint Rapp.
First and foremost, I would like to state, Clint Rapp from Oklahoma. First and foremost, I'd like to state that the precedent that would have been set from this action would have had nuclear options. It's the same as the Democrats putting the nuclear option in for the, and then they regretted it when Trump took office. That is exactly what would have happened. I'm sorry, but if a national chair and a state chair get along, they can just flip a state. That is a huge violation of ethics and our principles. I yield my time.
Thank you for that. Let's see here. So next in line, I have Daniel Lutz, or Lutz. I don't know how you pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. Craig Shute, Sam Silverman, and Matthew Mansell. Mr. Lutz? Lutz. Lutz. It is Lutz. I have relatives that are Lutz, but I know people that are Lutz. Go ahead.
It's all dialectic. Daniel Lutz, Colorado. Favorite elected libertarian is Noda. I am an anarchist. I don't caucus with the radicals. I don't caucus with Mises. I don't caucus with the pragmatists. I don't caucus with anybody. I listen to everybody. And I'm hoping everyone will now take a second to listen to me. We need to stop. We need to stop this insanity that has been going on. A lot of emotions have been running high and a lot of things have been happening very quickly. When those two things happen, you have a great opportunity to make mistakes. And I am afraid we are rushing to boot this person, boot that person. Okay. I didn't want Mr. Hinchman off the board. I don't want Ms. Harlos off the board. I don't want Mr. Wendt off the board. I don't want anyone removed right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lutz. Craig Shute.
Yes, Craig Shute, New York. I want to say I'm a relatively new member. I joined last year. My first thing is everybody, all the prags and everybody always say that they want to grow the party and they want to elect more libertarians. But they seem to have made it clear that they have no use for new members like me. The actions that you've taken against the LNH and also the constant bashing of Mises shows me that you'd rather have a small party controlled by yourselves than actually grow the party with a lot of new energetic libertarians. I don't think decorum should be weaponized to purge good libertarians from any of our bodies, which it seems to be doing. And I would also like to say that you should make it clear that you'll never, an ironclad promise that you will never support a coup against a rightful affiliate as happened in New Hampshire. I support Mrs. Harlos and I thank her for her service. I yield the rest of my time.
Nice job, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Shute. Mr. Silverman, or Sam Silverman. Sam Silverman, are you there? All right, I'm just going to go on. We can come back if they reappear. Matthew Mansell.
Hello, can you hear me?
Who's speaking?
Matthew Mansell.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. I want to say thank you for letting me speak. My name is Matthew Mansell. I'm in the state of Florida. A Jew 2,000 years ago by the name of Yeshua of Nazareth said that you judge not unless you want to be judged, and the measure that you use to judge will be used to judge against you. If you have a mote in your log in your own eye, you should not seek to take the mote out of your neighbor's eye unless you first remove it from your own. To do so would be hypocrisy. Nobody should remove anyone from this board over decorum matters, as you all, including the chair, has broken decorum of this meeting, or of the last LNC meeting, and throughout these sections. To remove someone over decorum would be an act of hypocrisy, and you should vote to remove yourself the second you voted to remove Ms. Harlow. And the same should go with disaffiliating another state affiliate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have in the queue. Actually, I'll ask: is Sam Silverman back? Are they here? All right. I apologize. We're going to move on. Next in the queue, I have Dave Benner, Rochelle Wagner, Samuel Whipplinger, and DL Cummings. Mr. Dave Benner, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. You're doing a great job. Dave Benner, LPTN Communications Director. I'm also on the State Judicial Committee. I'm here to speak on behalf of Karen Ann Harlos, the same secretary this body is trying to silence and suspend without a hearing. For her zeal to uproot corruption in this party, she deserves a badge of honor rather than a suspension. Did she violate decorum on the business list? Perhaps so. But then let every man and woman on this body that also did the same introduce their own motions to suspend themselves in this very meeting. Frankly, that's no reason for removal. She'll be vindicated, if not now, in 1 year's time. But today she deserves our adulation rather than condemnation. If this remains the party of principle, how can we praise Snowden and Assange if we denigrate whistleblowers in our own ranks? Thank you.
And I was muted. Thank you, Mr. Benner. Rochelle Wagner.
I am Rochelle Wagner. I am the Johnson County, Kansas coordinator. I want to speak in favor of Karen N. Harlos and the legitimate New Hampshire party. I hope that we get a full investigation into what happened with the LPNH and anything that was done and who did it comes to light. The LP is about the NAP and should remain neutral on social issues. These accusations of bigotry are just political assassinations against those who have disagreements. We must follow our bylaws and not disenfranchise duly elected officials. I have asked others for statements who weren't able to get into this meeting. Linus Petrum said, I feel like it's sad to lose Karen and Harlos because I don't know anyone else that knows the history like her and shows the dedication to what this was founded on. And I feel like she's basically a whistleblower, which I thought we supported. Karen plays a huge part in why I joined because of her openness of opinions and keeping transparency at the forefront. Caleb King said, the charges of lack of decorum are just another way of saying that she has keeping people informed. The rest of the XCOM are decorums only in that they are being secretive, sneaky, and insular. Quiet in public is not the same thing as respect.
That's time. Thank you. Samuel Whipplinger.
Hi, I'm the chair of the Albert Lee area affiliates in Minnesota. And I just want to say that I would be very upset if you guys were voting to say disaffiliate Minnesota. I've worked hard in the party and all that stuff. And also the only reason I became a libertarian is because of the Mises Caucus, because I looked at the Libertarian Party. I thought they were a joke. I saw a guy with a boot on his head. I mean, I love and respect him, but I did think he was a joke. And now to say that we're going to disaffiliate a state because their messaging is, even though it's completely libertarian, it's not worded the way we want it to be worded. I mean, I think that's just ridiculous. Caroline Harlos is crazy, but she's the perfect kind of crazy for her job, and no one could do it better. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Whipplinger. DL Cummings. And then after DL, we have Johan. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to
DL Cummings. He's actually on Free Speech Media.
Matt Leakey, Ryan Graham, and Weston Stoller. DL, are you there?
He's muted.
DL. All right, we're gonna move. I'll try you back in a moment, DL. Johan. I assume that's how you pronounce that. I apologize if I'm messing anyone's names up. I am sincerely sorry.
That's perfect. If I could get video, that'd be great as well. Thank you. I'm Johannes Earnhardt. I'm out of the Pittsburgh area. I'm a former chair of the Allegheny County Libertarian group here in Pittsburgh. I'm currently on the Pennsylvania group for the Judicial Committee. I'm looking at what's happened over the past week, and I'm a little bit taken aback. I want to, affirm that I'm very happy that we've had so many stalwart libertarians keeping the party going. I was on hiatus for a while, and I'm back. But I think we really have to re-examine: are we the party of principle, or are we the party of a political convenience and unsubstantiated accusations that are wielded around, really weaponized to do a lot of damage? And what I've seen through this whole week, I'm very empathetic to folks like I think it was Gus Joseph, who have obviously gone through some experiences that are are not good. But on the other hand, we need to be a party that looks at evidence and looks at basis for what we do when we do it. I'm disappointed that the national level we were unable to actually get to the root of what were the offenses that the New Hampshire group did. We're going to react and react. That's not what we're a party of.
Thank you, Mr. Earnhardt. Matt Leakey.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to start by saying, Karen Ann, you have my full unequivocal support. Joshua Smith, I've been incredibly impressed with the manner in which you've behaved throughout this entire thing. Angela McCardle 2022, Dave Smith 2024. I have spent quite a bit of time in leadership in organizations, most of my adult life, in fact. I understand that there are many here who find the messaging of a takeover to be something of a threat. I got to tell you guys, as a relatively new member, this party could use some taking over. Yield my time. Thank you very much.
And that's what makes them seem like a cult.
I'm going to ask you, is D.L. Cummings back?
Yeah.
How's this?
There we go. We can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that. I prize decorum highly, and I have fought hard to raise the bar both in my state and my local affiliate. I've also spoken both to Ms. Harlos and Mr. Smith since he's been mentioned online and in person, expressing disapproval of their delivery style. In both of Mr. Bishop Henchman's responses, I saw him blame large numbers of members in contradiction to his comments last year at the Florida convention when he said the next chair is going to have to represent all libertarians, Ron Paul libertarians, civil libertarians, and everything in between. I'm not a Ron Paul libertarian. I'm not a Mises Caucus member. But after reading Mr. Bishop Henchman's responses, I was no longer certain if he represented me. I was also unclear about his full role with New Hampshire. His focus on others and limited transparency backed me into a corner to support behavior that I would otherwise criticize. I oppose any punishment against Ms. Harlos, given the circumstances, and I insist that only those without blame cast a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. The next set of speakers I have are Ryan Graham, Weston Stoller, someone named AJ, and Kenneth Hughes. Ryan Graham, you have the floor.
Hey everybody, Ryan Graham here. I'm the chair of the Libertarian Party of Georgia. And I just wanted to remind everybody that much of the work that goes on in the LP does not happen with the LNC. It happens at the local level. And I just want to encourage everybody to not let all this drama get them down. It's a big mess for sure. But if you find your local affiliate, if you don't have a local affiliate, create one. Run for office. Find a candidate near you who needs help and help out on their campaign. Find a place to go have a table and just start talking about liberty. If it's a local park or something, like who cares? Just go start talking to people about liberty and don't let the nonsense that happens on the LNC get you down. I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
I would
Mr.
agree
Stoller.
with that.
Hi, thank you. So I didn't realize my background was there. So I'm Weston, member of the LP in Washington State since 2016. There's no debate here. There was one affiliate, and then there was a rogue member empowered by the former LNC chair to try to create a new party affiliate against the bylaws. Thankfully, people like Karen Ann Harlos have rooted out this corruption in the party, despite the hate that she has gotten for the way she went about it, which I have no desire to defend, but it needed to be done, and I would hope you'd all support her and love her for all her hard work in the party. Finally, I want to say, since he's already been brought up, that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, died to save sinners. Believe in Christ before he comes with a rod of iron to bust the kneecaps of those who are rebellious.
Okay,
against the King of
time
Kings
this guy.
and yield the rest of my time.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you, Mr. Stoller. I don't know who AJ is. AJ, if you could identify yourself when you come on. Okay. Not hearing from AJ. AJ, are you there? All right. I'm going to put you back in the queue for a moment.
Come on, AJ.
Kenneth Hughes.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, sir. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for yielding me the floor. My name is Kenneth Hughes from Florida. I would like to thank all the members who have taken a moment to participate this evening. I myself would recommend a full investigation to determine those involved with the recent act of aggression that occurred in New Hampshire, stealing property and information of individuals with that affiliate. Those named and unnamed, the perpetrators should be identified so they can be held accountable for the theft of the New Hampshire affiliate property and data. Ms. Harless, I would like to thank you for your service in this matter, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Christopher Sourwine.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, so I just wanted to, there's a lot of discussion about unification and being on the same page, and it's I think what we're really divided over are aesthetics, and I think that dividing over those things is really foolish. I think the only thing that we can really agree on is going to be private property rights. I mean, Vermin Supreme mentioned messaging. I really don't care for Vermin's messaging, but I recognize that there are people who do resonate with that, and so I don't resort to calling them nasty names. I mean, there's names been thrown out, racist and pedophiles and bigots. There's no worse things in really in the English language that we could call each other besides that. And so as far as messaging goes, I mean, we're talking about New Hampshire. What kind of a message are we sending by that? I mean, we're claiming to be the party that's going to be able to follow the Constitution, but we can't even follow our own bylaws. So I would urge everybody to refocus on private property rights only. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you. AJ, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you identify yourself beyond AJ?
All right.
Please?
So I want to say that Gilletta Jarvis, while as great as an activist as she has been in the past, she is responsible for getting us 50 state ballot access, at least here in New Hampshire. Like, that's real. But she stole from us. And I know that she's a good person. So I want her to, without these investigations, tell us who her co-conspirators were, tell us who these people were that were giving her bad information, and tell us all of that information. Second, I want to give everyone here something to actually unify behind. Justin O'Donnell and I right now are sitting here watching this, shit show on a projector from a place called The Quill. It's a club for libertarians in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we're trying to raise money to buy the building. And after we get the money to buy the building, we're going to start them all over the country. So if that's something that's interesting to you, go to emergentorder.io and give us some money.
All right, thank you, AJ.
That's actually who's coming on our show on Sunday, Greg.
have
His name's AJ
Nathaniel's
Olding.
iPhone, Dr. Levin, Fina Bonin, Reese Smith, and
Yes,
Archie
really.
Cox. So
I guess I shouldn't
that
make
is,
fun of that
I don't know
text,
who
but
Nathaniel's iPhone is, but if you could identify yourself, you have the floor.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Nate Scow for Nathaniel Scow, former chair of the Winnebago Party of Illinois. Really slow activist more than anything else. But I did want to say,
How do I get out of it?
first to the chat, and then when you have time, they should take time to yield. Secondly, I want to point out that an activist, a great activist is different than a great board member, and we need to differentiate that. If someone signs something saying that they're going to follow decorum, they need to do it. That's the long and the short of it. If it's signed that you'll do it, you got to do it, because private contracts matter too. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Daniel. Dr. Levin.
Hello, my name is Elisheva Levin, and I am a member of the California Party. I've been a libertarian since 1972. I've seen some pretty good blow-ups in this party. I would like to see us focus on liberty. And the first place to start is by beginning with restoring the property that was stolen from the New Hampshire Party and doing an investigation of that party. I would also like to say that I support Karen Ann Harlos. I know she can be annoying to people, and I've been annoyed by her sometimes too, but she is one of the best secretaries I've ever seen, and she has indeed brought forth what's really going on in this party. And I don't see why I voted for her, why I should then be disenfranchised by people who want decorum more than they want truth and doing the right thing. Thank you.
I'm talking to mute. Thank you, Fina. Noen, I talk to you every week, but I messed up your last name. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fina.
Okay, thank you, Ken. It's Benoan. I know it's sorry. I came on here to say hello from Hawaii, aloha, and to tell New Hampshire to, deal with it yourself, fix it yourself. You guys handle it. That's what libertarians are about. We're about handling it on a local level. And I also came on here for another reason, because I support Karen Ann Harlos. And I want you guys to really reflect and think about how you guys have treated her, because I'm getting kind of emotional because she has a disability. And who are you guys teaming up on her the way that you have been? And she is a good secretary, and she is about liberty, and she's about the movement. And I yield my time. Thank you.
Next is Reese Smith.
Hello. I would just like to say that Gilletta Jarvis never had any standing to go off and form another Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at all. None of it made any sense legally or whatsoever. And so the board's entire sort of even the perhaps we should disaffiliate both and let them figure it out. Perhaps we need to revoke data access from both of them. It's ridiculous because there really was not a controversy here. Gilletta Jarvis left and attempted to make her own organization that she admitted herself was a new organization. She had no legitimacy to do this, no standing in the bylaws, and the LNC's actions talking about disaffiliating the New Hampshire party as well as revoking their access while they figured it out was absolutely ridiculous, and it shows a lack of care for the situation. And one of the few people standing up in that situation and trying to get what is right was Carol Ann Harlos, who was absolutely great. Oh, my apologies. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on deck, we have Archie Flower, Michael Dinos, and John-Luc Teskey. And I apologize again for everyone's names I'm going to mangle today.
Well, the Archie Flowers should be interesting.
Yeah, he's not a big fan of Karen.
Mr. Flower was just readmitted to the meeting.
Okay.
So
Can
you may not
you
be
hear
aware
me?
that he has the floor.
We can hear you. Yes, and you have the floor, sir.
That was really good timing. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Archie Flower, chair of the Vermont Libertarian Party. I just want everyone, please, please take a step back from the hot temperatures and the high emotions. Everyone, and I'm not discounting myself. I've said some things I would probably rather take back. We're all in a state of extreme emotion, and our party's future is at stake. I believe, honestly, in my heart of hearts, that there is enough room in this party for unity, but there can be no room for bigotry. But I want to make this clear. There are a phenomenal number of really good people in the Mises Caucus. There really are, in every caucus, in every non-affiliation. Let's unite as good libertarians. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flower. Next, I have Michael.
Mr. Chair, Mr.
Yes.
Chair, John Phillips, point of privilege or information, I guess. How much time is left in the hour of public comment?
You know, one of the downsides of not doing this is I did not keep track of when we started the public comment.
By my count, we still have like 7 minutes, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So I would take Mr. Nana's 7 minutes.
I feel like it's definitely been an hour.
I'm sure somebody's going to extend it anyhow. So let's just get the next person going.
We're at 1 hour and 46 minutes on this episode. So
Mr. Michael Mee.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Michael Mee from.
I just kind of want to get to the meeting.
Well, several LNC members failed to vote to return stolen property to a state affiliate. Ms. Harlow's decision to immediately engage in fact-finding and the collection of evidence which might have been later been hidden or rendered unavailable allowed the New Hampshire coup attempt to be swiftly defeated and for property rights to be protected. If she did not interview Ms. Jarvis immediately, it is unclear whether we would have received the honest truth if such interviews were conducted days or weeks later. I am pleading with those on the LNC, do not dig the knives of division in deeper than they already are by voting to remove Ms. Harlow's. She has done nothing to warrant that severe punishment and has done substantial good for the Libertarian Party. Thank you, and I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Mee. Next, Michael Dinos. Again, I apologize.
That's correct. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Molman for stepping up in this trying time. What happened in New Hampshire was vile and reprehensible. It was clearly corruption to those of us who were paying attention and watching. After the events of New Hampshire, the slander and internet trolls against valuable LP committee members increased because former chairs didn't like them. We have people claiming to want respect, but they turn around and then slander and libel libertarians merely because of their caucus or their affiliations. It's disgusting and cannot continue. There are bigots in this party like Mr. Cohen who have no problem taking our money and then insulting us to our faces while holding the party hostage to their demands. We stand with Mr. Smith and Mrs. Harlow's in this moment, and I yield my time.
Dinos, Jean-Luc Teskey.
I yield my time to the Honorable Mr. Vermin Supreme if he so uses to choose my minute.
We did already hear from Mr. Supreme. Mr. Supreme, I'm going to rule that out of order because we've got a long list of people. All right. We're going to move on.
Mr. Chair, would you entertain a motion to extend public comment by 20 minutes?
I was going to make the motion too. I'll second it.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second to extend public comment.
All right, we'll come back in 20 minutes. How about we'll take a 20-minute break, Greg? I'll just leave this going.
All right, hearing no objection.
I gotta be honest. I wanted to hear the meeting, but
I am being corrected that
I don't
actually we
even
were
think.
supposed to
I mean,
about now. So we're gonna say
even in 20 minutes. So what? The meeting starts in 20 minutes, and then how long's the fucking meeting?
Discussion if we don't end before.
Like, I don't. I mean, fuck, man.
I'm not sure if it's the
I've been
Joshua
sitting here
Smith of the
drinking for the
LNC or a
last 2
different
hours.
Joshua
I ain't got 2 more hours in me, bud.
And okay, the Joshua Smith of the LNC is currently muted.
I gotta be honest. This is like the most frustrating.
How's it going? How's it going? Can you hear me now? Can everybody hear me? That's cool. You know what? There's a lot of people
everyone
that are
just
waiting
wants
to
to
be
say
heard,
something.
and we still have our LNC
Everyone
meeting where I
wants to
speak
get
at,
their
so
word in.
I'll yield my time and let other people speak.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. All right. Next up, I have in queue Evan McMahon, James Lane, John Waldenberger, and Michael Raleigh. Evan McMahon, you have the floor.
Hello, my name is Evan McMahon. I am the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. You know, I'm not wild about the messaging coming from New Hampshire, but that's not my business. My business is Indiana. I'm not wild about the things that I've heard about tactics from New Hampshire, but that's also not my business. I think the LNC should have stayed out of it. I am upset and very concerned as a state chair when I see that a motion to disaffiliate as a matter of gamesmanship was put to the committee, which discredits the affiliate and damages the credibility and legitimacy of that
It's
affiliate.
possible they
I
don't
think it was
actually
wrong.
vote on
I think it was
anything
inappropriate.
tonight, to be honest.
I do
don't
also
know.
believe that on this committee that have been doing so
But
for,
we do got
quite some
that
time, and I would encourage
Frisbee
everyone
golf
to
tomorrow,
please
and I got to be up for
step up your
that.
game,
So
be better, treat each other better, let the affiliates handle
if
the
they
business
extend it 20 minutes,
inside
I'll probably
their
jump off,
state.
to be
Thank
honest.
you.
That's fine, dude. I'll hold the fort.
Thank you, Mr. McMahon. Next up is James.
I did
Lane.
want to see the meeting, but
Hi, I'm James Lane. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Not
I'm
at
a
10
member of the
o'clock at
social
night.
media committee here. I just want to point out that we're trying to figure out, why we got all this divisiveness. The reason we have all this divisiveness is because Mises is causing all this divisiveness. I'm a left minarchist, and I have friends that are radicals. I have friends that are socialists. I have friends that were prags. I don't have any friends that are Mises. There is a reason for that. If we want to solve this, I want to work with everybody who wants to work for liberty, but I'm not willing to work with people who don't want me here. And Mises is constantly telling me I don't belong here. So we need an olive leaf from them. If they want to make good on that, Jeremy Kaufman needs to be disassociated from LPNH and from everybody who's associated with them. That'll be a nice olive branch that they could give to the rest of us to show that they want to work together for a brighter party with less divisiveness. So if we could just have that olive leaf, I'm willing to work with anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. And next is Mr. Waldenberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For those asking where the bigotry is, look no further than the assholes chat commenters in this chat right now. Disgusting things directed to a young person who should be applauded for choosing to fight for liberty at such a young age. I am an elected libertarian and candidate for local office and Pennsylvania lieutenant governor. I am disgusted and appalled by the hate and division spread from factions of this party. It is hurting our candidates and our image. The bullshit in New Hampshire is only the start if we do not stop it now. There is nothing wrong with the passionate potty mouth. I was falsely accused and removed by Heist and the Mises stronghold in my home county of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, for the same thing. So I condemn the removal of Ms. Harlos without due process. If you want to do this, be consistent and remove Joshua Smith for being a goddamn internet bully, troll, telling people to suck and eat dicks, promoting gang tactics, and calling out for people for being nerds. Disaffiliate New Hampshire, let them sort stuff out, and let's move on and get libertarianism.
Thank you, Mr. Waldenberg. Thank you, Mr. Waldenberg. You're out of time. All right, next up is Michael Raleigh, and after him I have Matt Kirby, Michael Holscher, and some person named Robert. So Michael Raleigh, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, I make an honest living. My wife does the same. We're raising our first child right now, and all I want is to see liberty in his lifetime. And the Mises Caucus, I am a proud member of the Mises Caucus, and they've given me the first reason to even consider achieving liberty through political means, through the Libertarian Party, something serious to consider. And frankly, I've met dozens, if not hundreds, of Mises Caucus members by now, and a lot of them joined in this past year. And we're already meeting at county meetings. We're supporting local, people running for office. We're trying to do reforms at the local level, and we're working with other caucus members and non-caucus members. I don't understand what I joined after seeing what's gone down in the past week with Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and now with Karen Ann. I mean, it's should all be ashamed. And I think we need to just get past all this nonsense and name calling and this ridiculousness and just move towards liberty and work together and get this thing done.
Thank you, Mr. Raleigh. Next is Matt Kirby. Mr. Kirby.
Oh, hi. Hi there. So Matt Kirby, dues paying member from Wisconsin. I just want to ask everyone to be aware of the optics and to see the forest for the trees here. There was a concerted effort to overthrow a duly elected affiliate in New Hampshire. There is reason to believe that the chair worked behind the scenes with a third party in the shadows. There was never a good reason to given for the vote to disaffiliate, and the chair publicly called the large faction of the party evil, giving reason to believe that he was acting as a king against the will of the delegates. Property was stolen from the rightful affiliate in New Hampshire and was only returned after Joshua Smith proposed that the chair turn over his communications. When an investigation into the matter became imminent, the chair resigned. He never revealed his reasoning for the disaffiliation vote and never revealed who the third party was that obtained the letter for Ms. Jarvis. On his way out, he opened a motion to suspend Ms. Harlos, which seemed very retaliatory. I saw an image circulating of a screenshot on Facebook by Eric Bishop Henchman cackling about JBH taking Karen Ann down with him. Now, the optics are that the LNC members voting to suspend Ms. Harlos because she was a whistleblower, and they are worried that she will keep pushing the investigation.
Thank
And they
you,
want
Mr. Kirby. Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Thank you. All right. Next is Michael Holscher.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's Michael Holscher from Connecticut. I've been a libertarian for most of my adult life, but only recently joined the National Party. As recently as 2019, I was not a member. I found the party at the time to be relatively ineffective at accomplishing most political goals, inspiring people, and most importantly, spreading the message, ideals, and philosophy of liberty. I myself was educated largely thanks to the Ron Paul 2012 Love Revolution campaign. And after that, I broadened the scope of my understanding of libertarian philosophy through the work of people like Tom Woods, Scott Horton, Dave Smith, and the Mises Institute. And in fact, it was a lot of those folks that got me to finally join the LP officially. While I don't always agree with everything that the Mises Caucus does or says, I believe that the principles that guide them are the principles of liberty, and that most of their efforts have already taken the party in a much better, more energized, and more principled direction.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see here. I have someone who is just named Robert. I don't know who that is.
That would be me, sir.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. I see you changed your name since.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not talking rude or anything. Can I get
Sorry, can I have my time restored? Or sorry.
the limit?
Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, thank you.
And everyone else, please remember to mute. Thank you.
Robert Bavero Spina, California, Marin County Chair Pro Tem, and the Mises Caucus. The LNC needs to open a private, impartial, and transparent investigation to get to the bottom of what happened with the attempted coup and theft within the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Property crimes such as theft are antithetical to the liberty movement, and the LNC needs to condemn this travesty and punish the bad faith actors who were behind this. We are supposed to be the party of principle. If the LNC lets us fall to the wayside, then others will feel enabled to do it again. The LNC needs to figure out who was Ms. Jarvis co-conspiring with when she chose to illegally seize the power and property from the rightfully elected owner of the LPNH. Next, I would like to address the Madam Secretary Harlow situation. She has done more for the liberty movement than any of these bad faith actors who are trying to remove her. I stand with Ms. Harlow. Thank you for your service. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. Next is, where'd it go? Jake Heron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You go, so go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to use my time to quote someone who I think is probably the most influential in the liberty movement today. Quote, "There's a lot going on in the world, and I just wanted to weigh in that I think everyone is wrong. Whatever opinion you have, it's wrong. And I want you to know that I feel that way and that others should speak up as well." And that quote was, of course, delivered by the one and only Robbie the Fire Bernstein. So I would just like you all to take that to heart, and I will yield the rest of my time.
The last person I have on the original list of people, and that's at least what I was fed. And Mr. Levy, if you want to feed me a few more on Facebook Messenger, Last one is Mercy Damratowski. I think I even got that right.
Oh, hello. Yes, you did. Hello. Thank you. I spoke before the meeting was officially started. Some of you heard it. I'm not going to repeat anything I said because I'm here to remind everybody the gravity of the situation at hand and that we are an official political party. We are adults, and everything we are saying and doing is being recorded for historical purposes. How we represent ourselves and our groups in the Libertarian Party is how we will be recorded for all of history, because we are making history as we speak. Understanding the gravity of the situation, I would please implore everyone here to keep that in mind going forward. That's all I have to say. Thank you for giving me this chance to speak, and remember that democracy dies in darkness and nothing good happens after 10 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Harris,
I
I don't
agree.
have any
Nothing good
further names
happens
on the
after
list.
10.
Are there more in the queue?
There are
It's gonna be 10 in like
approximately
19
27
minutes.
names still in the queue. The
Come on.
couple that are coming up next, I have Kant, Liberation Now, followed by Chris Thrasher and Otto Das.
Ooh, Thrasher.
Thrasher, and what was the third one?
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry.
had Thrasher on a couple months ago.
Otto Das.
Okay. All right. Whoever
I'm gonna have to stay
is, I
on till
apologize.
Thrasher
I've
speaks.
only got that part of it. You have the floor.
Thank you. The party lacks principles. I'll just say that much. We've grown too much towards politics. We've grown too much towards party politics. We've basically become a mini Democrat Republic civil war. We've become a mini US, and we've become dysfunctional. I don't know how you're going to fix it. I think the party needs to go back to philosophy, needs to go back to learning what it means to be libertarian instead of all this bickering. But who knows? We'll see what happens. It's either revolution or dissolution. I'll yield the rest of my time.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Thrasher.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Christopher Thrasher. I wish to address my comments to the members of the Libertarian National Committee. I consider each and every one of you to be my colleagues, and nearly every single one of you I consider to be my friends. I ask you all to consider that over the past week, there has been a tremendous amount of hurt that has spread around this party and in this party's governing body, which you are a member of. And I implore each and every one of you to consider, in anything that you do going forward, consider focusing on healing. Consider focusing on forward thinking and not looking back. And with that, I thank you and yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Thrasher. Mr. Dassing.
I believe we're at time.
Yes. Thank you.
I had it at 10:48 when we extended it
10:28. 5 minutes.
20 minutes.
Okay.
Mr.
Can you
Dassing?
restart my? Okay. Can you restart my time?
Of course.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Otto Dassing. I am an at-large member of the Maryland Libertarian Party, and I'm also vice chair of Baltimore County Libertarians. And I think, once again, you guys should not be having to hear my voice talk about this. This is the will of the voters spoke in New Hampshire. And I need to remind every single one of you that it doesn't matter who was voted in, they were voted. And that's what we were promised when we signed up for the entire party. I am so sick of this. And I think the only thing that Mrs. Harlow and Mr. Smith are guilty of is caring too much about what is happening in New Hampshire. And I think an investigation needed to happen. And I don't think that anything nefarious went on other than a conversation which led to a lot of facts coming up that people did not want to come out. And it did. It doesn't matter. And Mrs. Harlow has been outspoken about this from the get-go, and that's the only thing she is guilty of. And I do not want to have to speak on this again, and I hope that everyone makes the right decision. Thank you for my time.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, could you feed me 3 more names, please?
Yes, sir. We've got up next Andrew Kolsty, followed by Joe Quass and Todd Hagopian.
All right. Then let's get it on. Mr. Kolsty, you have the floor.
I'm muted. This is Andrew Kolsty, Secretary of the Libertarian Party of New York. Just a couple of observations of a lot of inconsistency. First, the social media comments, and I know there's certainly a lot of press, but I'm sure New Hampshire is not the only affiliate that has had questionable comments on social media. Should the LNC be policing every little thing? I don't think so. And then regards to which party is which New York had similar disputes. Oregon has similar disputes. Is the LNC going to be policing all that too? It didn't police this, but it didn't police New York, but it policed New Hampshire. There's a lot of inconsistencies. There should be some sort of independent investigation, but I don't think the LNC should be policing or taking sides, but rather arbitrating and trying to solve it from a neutral point of view. And then just the last thing, Karen Ann Harlows deserves due process. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think the name that Mr. Harris fed me was Joe Cross.
Hey, this is Joe Quaz, a delegate from Greenville, South Carolina. I wanted to say thank you very much to Karen Ann Harlows. Her work was able to bring out a lot of information for the entire party to hear and process and kind of make transparent to us. And I think everything that we've gotten out of her and everyone else involved makes it very obvious that there's a committee that was elected in March. There was a part of that committee that tried, we've got the facts in front of us. We all saw what happened, tried to make a rogue entity and disaffiliating the elected committee would be a crime, and suspending Karen Harlows would also be a crime, especially after all the work she's done to keep everyone up to date. And with that, Epstein didn't kill himself. I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Quaz. Mr. Hagopian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd Hagopian, Treasurer of Oklahoma. It has been a long week. It was entirely self-inflicted. However, the only legitimate affiliate in New Hampshire has its property back. The people who have had to resign have resigned. I ask that the LNC sends a strong message to our state affiliates that they will not back future coups. I would like to see a motion to adjourn this meeting directly after public comment and keep your hands off of the pink flame of liberty. And I'll yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Hagopian. It is the witching hour.
I think Greg seconds that motion to adjourn.
Public comment. Just for the sake of information, Mr. Harris, how many people are left in the queue?
There are 19 remaining people in the queue.
Okay. Then I will entertain if anyone on the
These
LNC
guys
wants
will
to
talk.
continue.
I would
Otherwise,
move for 1 minute each for the 19 people who have been waiting patiently.
okay. There's a motion to
I'll
add.
second, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Jeez,
So
20 more
motion by Ms.
minutes.
Harlow for the
Yeah, I'm
19
gonna
people
tap
in the
out.
queue,
The
1
supreme
minute each,
leader
second by Mr. Smith.
is not
I'll
going
just
to
ask
listen to
immediately, is
19
there
more
objection?
minutes. Because at that point, it's like I doubt these guys are going to even conduct business. To be
Not
honest,
hearing any objection.
I mean maybe, but how long was the other
Without
meeting you
objection,
watched
these
the other
19 that
night?
are in the queue are
Like
the
3 hours.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think the next person I had on my list.
Yeah, I got to
is,
get up early
Dan
because I got to go to Sioux Falls. I live about an hour away, so if you're libertarian,
Okay, there I am.
watching,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
come,
I'm the chair of the
play some
Libertarian Party of
fucking
Connecticut, and I'll keep it brief.
frisbee golf tomorrow
There's no
morning in Sioux
mistaking what
Falls.
happened in New Hampshire. It was basically two people decided to unwork the will
But
of
I'm
the
giving
LNC, the
All
National
right, man. I'll
Convention.
see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
you can
the
catch me up in
delegates
the morning.
and members of the New Hampshire Party, which LPCT has condemned and actually had called for the removal of former chair. He could have fixed this. He could have issued a corrective letter, basically saying there was no change in affiliate status. It would have taken 5 minutes, and we could have avoided this. Karen Ann Harlos, I support. My party supports. Joshua Smith the same. They have done nothing wrong here. And one thing I can say from Connecticut, we have many caucuses. We all get along. We know how to disagree. So my suggestion would be this. I would agree with one of the previous speakers that we adjourn, or the LNC adjourn after this. But, you know, let everybody who wants to fight just quit by Monday, and then the rest of us can resume our work building a party. And thank you. And I do love you all, and we all do love each other. So let's not forget that.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, I slept on that couch once.
All right. All right. Let's get through these. Next is Mr. Nana, and then followed by Kitty Guello, Anarcho Amish, and Jake Huron. I think you were in the queue once already, but we'll get to that in a moment.
You go right to the next person. I'm quite all right.
All right. Katie Guello. Did I pronounce the name right? I hope. Katie, are you there? All right, I'm going to move past her and try her again in a moment. Anarcho Amish.
Hello, my name is Grant. I hail from PA. My politics are weird and I like it that way. I wish to express my pent-up frustration about the current LNC situation. First, about me, I'm a plain guy, you see. I don't like Facebook or Twitter or DVDs, so I'm different to shitpost or edgelording trolls. I do things on principle, not for the lows. So to lose our minds over a silly tweet is to succumb to the status and accept defeat. As libertarians, it's not ours to encroach. It's in our interest for a decentralized approach. So to declare a new party by fiat alone is egregious sin and one to bemoan. For a party obsessed with process and form, stealing their stuff should be met with some scorn. It scares me, as an elected in an affiliate state, that by executive decree, they could clean slate. Thank you. I yield the balance of my time.
Thank you, sir. Next, I'm going to call, I'll allow this, I guess. Jake Heron, I think you spoke earlier, though, as well.
I did, Mr. Chair. I thought I lowered my hand, so I withdraw.
All right, thank you. William Holloman.
There we go. Hi, I'm William Holloman, Texas. I'm about to begin the process of affiliating my county, Chambers County, with the Texas LP. Without saying, I'm very new to the party. I was brought in by Michael Heiss, Dave Smith, Tom Woods, Scott Horton, the Mises Caucus. I'm a Ron Paul guy. And being a new guy in the party, I can't believe that this is happening. I can't believe that a blatant coup was attempted against a state affiliate and that there's a vote to disaffiliate the rightful affiliate after they were wronged. It's bizarro that this is happening. And I can't believe that this would go forward. So I urge and demand all of the voting members on the LNC to not vote to disaffiliate the rightful state affiliate in New Hampshire, and further to not dismiss Karen Ann Harlow. She's a pillar of this party and she does a lot of good work. And she's what's bringing people like me to the party.
Yeah, it's time. All right, next I have Drew Hensley, Jeffrey's iPhone, Dr. Ahmad, and Drew Worley. That's the next four on deck. Drew Hensley, you have the floor.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Really, I just wanted to say that people like Karen Ann Harlos, also I should preface, I'm not Mises affiliated. I do lean that way, but I'm not actually a part of the caucus. But anyway, Karen Ann Harlos and people with that kind of principle are the reason that I'm interested and keep interested in the Libertarian Party. And the backlash surrounding her has me kind of disappointed and disenfranchised. But I appreciate the work that she's done. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hensley. Jeffrey's iPhone, if you could identify yourself a little more than your device.
Sure.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jeff Fortune, Oklahoma Libertarian Party. Look, if the prequels taught us anything, Qui-Gon teaches us that our focus determines our reality. We have way too many people focused on how others are trying to spread their message of liberty. Guys, we're on the same fucking team here. Quit letting these people distract us from fighting the state to focus on each other. If you don't like the way others are fighting for liberty, fucking ignore it. Keep your focus where it belongs, against the authoritarians who presume to rule over us. The next thing, every state affiliate out there that's listening, if this situation doesn't scare the hell out of you, how little control you actually have over your data, nothing will. We need a different CRM, something that addresses the vulnerabilities uncovered and thankfully righteously resolved. If you're interested in doing this, I'm a software developer. Reach out to me, Jeff Fortune, Oklahoma Libertarian Party. Please keep your hands off our pink flame of liberty. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Extra points for the Star Wars reference.
Thank you.
Next up is Dr. Ahmad. Dr. Ahmad, are you there? Why are we on a screen share? I will hold on Dr. Ahmad. I'll come back to him. Drew Worley.
Thank you. Drew Worley, Ohio. Most of my life I've been a libertarian. This past year I noticed my local government trying to pass authoritarian laws. So I decided to take human action and fight against it. I met someone there who shared a majority of my beliefs. It didn't surprise me to find that he was the co-chair of my neighboring county. This led me to become a big L libertarian. I joined the National Party and the State Party. I started my own county affiliate in which I'm the chair. I'm also the ballot initiative coordinator for Mises Caucus in Ohio. And as of yesterday, I'm now a candidate to run for local office. I'm a MECOC. I'm a member of the Redacted. We can all agree that taxation is theft. I don't understand how everyone doesn't see that what happened in New Hampshire is theft. The former chair abandoned her post, stole the property of the one and only state affiliate. This is more of a coup than what happened on January 6th. There's no grounds to vote to disaffiliate New Hampshire. There's no grounds to remove Karen and Harlos. Let us all remember that none of you are real libertarians. Angel McCarl, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Worley. Next up on deck, I have George Mendoza, Paul Shin, Kit Brogdon, and Nick Sarwark.
When am I going to be called on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Dr. Ahmad, I had you, and I called on you, and then you didn't answer. So actually, let's go ahead and get back to Dr. Ahmad. Go ahead. You're here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Someone must have muted me. I'm Dean Ahmed. I am the past national secretary, past Maryland state chair, lifetime member, two-time Senate candidate, and a former member of the bylaws committee. My main one of the things I was really concerned about in the New Hampshire motion was there was no list of particulars of what it was that they were being disaffiliated for. This is a violation of due process, and I'm afraid that I see the same thing happening here with Karen Ann Harlos. I haven't seen a list of particulars. There's a statement that she has violated decorum. That may be true, but in this very meeting, I have heard such violations of decorum, certainly in the chat room, but even on microphone, that I think that it would be much better served for the party if she has done anything wrong, been indecorous, to speak to her and ask her to explain to her how she can get better in that respect, and not to undermine the good work that she has been doing for the party. Because
Thank you, sir. Next,
Mr. Moment,
yes.
point of action. That's not Nick. He's not here.
Okay. Okay, it is not Nick Sarwark, then that I will.
No, not at all.
Yeah, all right. Well, thank you for that, Ms. Sarwark. I will definitely not call on a fake name. Thank you. Impersonation is not appreciated, people. Next is George Mendoza.
I would like to see an investigation, and those who need to be held accountable, I hope, would be held accountable. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Pink has become sexy, and Sasha Cohen, where should I send my I don't give a fuck card? With that being said, I would like to use the remainder of my time to remain silent in honor of Duncan Limp and all those who have lost life, liberty, and property due to big government.
Time.
Thank you. Paul Shin.
Yes, Paul Shin from Indiana, and I just want to second my state chair, Evan McMahon, who spoke earlier. I don't really care what's going on in New Hampshire. I mean, it's their business. My business is the state of Indiana. I care what Evan McMahon and the state affiliates are doing in my state of Indiana. They need to clean their house. We keep our house in order, and that's really all I have to say. I'm not affiliated with any caucuses. I've been a member of the national for 4 years now, and I just find it very, very concerning to listen to this type of conversation going on in regards to the LNC on a national level. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. Kit Brogdon.
Yeah, Kit Brogdon out of Texas. I'm a new member of the LP. I just came here to offer my support for Karen Ann Harlos. I think removing her would be a big mistake. She has been a big voice for a lot of the people in the party during the whole New Hampshire event. I also think that we need to end all this infighting. I'm a member of the Mises Caucus, but the Mises Caucus calling everyone loser brigade, and then the Prags calling everyone bigots. There are bigger enemies to be fighting, such as the state, and I don't think this is what we need to be focusing our time on. So thank you for my time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brogdon. Skipping over the fake Nick Sarwark, we now are going to have Dean Davidson, someone named Jacob, Daniel Fishman, and Joshua McHose. So Dean Davidson, you have the floor. Dean Davidson, are you there? All right, I will mark to come back, try to come back to you. Person named just Jacob, are you there?
Yes, this is Jacob from Texas.
Thank you.
I don't care what caucus anybody is a part of. I don't care who LP National is. This is about the state. The state is held accountable by its voters. The state of New Hampshire ran on bold messaging. The fact that they are not being called out by their own state, but are instead being called out by national is appalling. The fact that national has gotten involved in this, and the fact that the person who has stood up the most is now getting called to be put out of national. I mean, while the rest of y'all sat on y'all's hands and did nothing and watched it happen, Karen Ann got up and actually fought back. She wanted to come to the side of it. She wanted to know what was right. She wanted to know all of this. And all of y'all did was sit on your hands. And I think that's ridiculous. So I will say, let the pink flame rise, and I will yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, sir. Daniel Fishman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to first thank you and Mr. Harris for the yeoman's job that you are doing. One of the important things to think about is that we have been presented with problems to the party that should have been easily to resolve. The problem is that we have this toxic atmosphere where we are pitted against each other, and as a result, even the simplest things to resolve have become incredibly difficult. Fortunately, that's something that every person can fix. Make a commitment to make the atmosphere less toxic. If you are thinking about saying something hurtful, pull it back. If a friend of yours is saying something hurtful, talk to them and say, look, that doesn't help us. Everything that can be said, that needs to be said, can be said in a way that is not going to pit us against each other. Let's find a way, work together. We are the only people fighting for a world set free in our lifetime. I'm proud that all of you are my allies. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Mr. Fishman. So I saw while Mr. Fishman was speaking that Mr. Davidson has come back. Mr. Davidson, are you still available? All right. All right, moving to the next person, Mr. McHose.
Marshall McCaw's here. I just want to send a message of unity from Alaska. And I just like to hope to see a transparent, independent investigation held, and for those to be known and those culpable to be held accountable. In Alaska, we have seen factionalism in our state, and we are so glad it's in our past. Because and we'd like everyone to focus their energy on growing the party instead of fighting with each other like the two parties. We luckily have libertarians of every stripe that work together. Mises Caucus, ANCAPs, Prags, does not matter. And I ask that everyone move forward from this and focus on growing the party, healing, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, sir. Ryan McCormick.
Point of privilege, Dean Davis, I'm back. If you can do me after that, thank you.
All right, perfect. We'll do. Ryan McCormick, are you available?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, go for it, sir.
Okay, I'm Ryan from Arizona. I'm a member of the Libertarian Party of Arizona. That's the first party that I've ever actually joined and done anything with. I'm a former police officer, recovering neocon, and the only reason I tell you that is so that you know there's hope for everybody. Don't discount anyone. And it was the voices of liberty, such as Joshua Smith, Dave Smith, Pete, and others who have actually brought me to liberty. Oh, lost my train of thought, sorry. So in the words of the great philosopher Dave Smith, I think the most important question that we must ask ourselves at the end of the day is, do you hate the state? And if you do, there is a place for you in the Libertarian Party, and there's a place for you in the Mises Caucus. So in the words of another great philosopher, Dave Chappelle, let's wrap this up and get back to fighting the true enemy, the state. And lastly, let's put our principles into action and show why we don't need a welfare state. And I want everyone to go to the Pink Lame of Liberty GoFundMe page and throw her some money.
Thank you, sir. That's time. All right, Dean Davidson.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. First off, I'm Dean Davidson. I am the vice chair of the Libertarian Party of Virginia. My statement here is I believe we all need to come together. This political infighting is making our party look really bad, and it's being felt in many states across the country. I don't care what caucus you're from, whether you're from the Mises Caucus, the Pragmatic Caucus, which dissolved today, a Radical Caucus, or any caucus at all. We as libertarians are here for a reason. It's to fight the tyrannical government that exists. And I am sick. I'm very sick to my stomach on to see what has happened in the last week. The data was owned by New Hampshire and the affiliate there. What that chair did was wrong. They should go to the vice chair of that, and they should get their access and everything back that they had and move on. I hope the LNC does the right thing and makes this a little bit better. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, sir. Last two, Bill Barger and Mallory Lane. Mr. Barger, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. So I'm Bill. I'm from New Hampshire. I am really depressed that you guys are still running political dog and pony shows trying to determine all this shit. What I will say is we know who cares about principles at this point. We know who cares about private property, and we know who cares about being politicians and running a little private club. Everyone who votes to disaffiliate New Hampshire, kick out Karen Ann, and kick out Josh Smith is signing a political death sentences for their career in the Libertarian Party. There's nothing there's nothing good coming from this for you. Go out with a kicking, screaming fit if you want to. Vote them all out, guys. Angela for chair 2022. Let's go. I
Thank you,
yield my
Ms.
time.
Barger. Thank you, Ms. Barger. Last, Mallory Lane.
Hi, guys. So first, I want to say, all of you that have children or that have nieces and nephews, if you want to allow people to talk the way that Jeremy Kaufman and the rest of these people in this chat talk to people, I'm sorry, but y'all can fuck off and go in a room by yourself. Because the disgraceful behavior that I have seen is downright disgusting, and I'm ashamed of all of you. We're supposed to be different than the people that currently sit in the US government. And in my opinion, as somebody that just joined the Libertarian Party, I am downright ashamed to even bring up anything that has to do with the Libertarian Party, because this is what they're going to see. The tweets, everything. And you know what? On New Hampshire, they should have filed their paperwork. They knew what they were supposed to do, and they didn't, and they had it taken away by somebody that was actually going to do something about it. So let people in the state do what they want to do, and let the National Party get things done so we can actually get libertarians in the White House. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. Based on the last motion that was made, we've reached the end of the public comment period. I guess I should do the due diligence. Mr. Harris, there's no one else in the queue, is there?
There are 2 hands that were raised after the most recent motion and remain in the queue.
I motion to move forward. We got to go.
Okay. And that is the default. So unless there's a motion to do otherwise, we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
I am not hearing a motion. All right. So without hearing any other further motions, public comment period is closed. The next we had the LNC comments is what we did the last time anyway. Unless somebody wants to move past that, I'm going to say that's the next thing that we do.
I don't think we need to do that again. I would oppose that.
Okay. There is that a motion to strike that from the agenda?
If that's on the agenda, yeah, that is a motion to strike that portion.
Okay.
Seconded.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Is there any need for discussion on that?
I believe there is.
Okay. Ms. Harlos?
I'll be very short. None of the LNC members raised their hand during public comment because we had thought this was going to happen, and it was out of courtesy to the members. I think at least giving a minute to any LNC member that wants to say something. We're in the most trying times I've ever seen in this party. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Anybody want to speak? I apologize. I did that out of order. Mr. Nana, did you want to speak?
Sure. Yeah. We were all going to have plenty of time to say what we need to say during the actual meeting. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Does anybody else want to say anything on this motion? All right. If I remember correctly, this takes it 2/3, and there's probably going to be objections. So let's go ahead and just do it. Let's call the roll.
1 second. I'm having computer issues where it's slowing down. Okay, I think I've gotten it.
And to be clear, the motion here is a yes would strike LNC comment from the agenda, a no would retain it.
If you consider it on the agenda, Mr. Chair, then it's a 50% vote. If you consider this to be adding to the agenda, it's a 2/3 vote.
My sincere apologies. Then good. It's 50%. That's even better.
And a yes would be to strike, and a no would be to not strike.
Yes is a strike. That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Ms. Bilyeu. I'll come back. Mr. Bowen.
Yes.
Ms. Epke.
Yes.
Mr. Hagan.
No.
I will vote no. Mr. Hewitt. I'll come back. Ms. Hogarth. I will come back. Mr. Longstreth.
I'm here. I'm sorry. Were you doing attendance again?
No, Ms. Hogarth, we're voting on Mr. Acting Vice Chair. Can you?
I'm sorry.
The motion on the floor is to strike to strike LNC comment from the agenda. A yes vote would strike LNC comment and no would retain it.
strike, like the time for comment?
The time for LNC members to comment.
Oh, yes, I apologize. I vote yes. I do want to apologize to the entire body. I'm at our state party convention and I did want to participate in both things, so my apologies. But yes.
I'm going to go back for 1 second to Ms. Bill Yu.
Yes.
Mr. Oh, well, hold on 1 second here. I got in the wrong spot. Mr. Longstreth,
Yes.
Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Nikela,
Aye.
Mr. Phillips,
You convinced me. No.
Mr. Roudset,
I would vote no, but I do ask that any member making a comment to keep it brief and only make a comment if you have a legitimate comment as a favor.
Ms. Sarwark,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
No.
Mr. Went.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't miss anybody. Mr. Acting Chair, it is 8 yes, 5 no.
I will not vote.
Did we go back to the folks that we missed?
I did, Mr. Nana.
Okay, I didn't hear it.
Oh, no, 1 moment. I'm sorry. I did miss Mr. Hewitt. It won't make a difference, but if you'd like to have his vote on the record.
I just wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to vote. That's all.
No, I agree with you. If Mr. Hewitt,
If Mr. Hewitt is not here, Mr.
Okay.
Ferreira.
Mr. Fiera, not hearing anything, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. So.
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
Yes, point of information.
Can you please read off the agenda?
The only thing left on the agenda after the comments is to discuss the latest concerns in the New Hampshire affiliate. And then after that, I have adjournment. So.
I believe Mr. Nikela had a motion that he had floated to the LNC.
And I believe I was going to cover that under the general discussion, as that was the item that was called for this meeting. So real quick though, the motion to strike LNC comment, Ms. Harless, that total was 8-5. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, no, actually, my computer's slowing down and it's not populating quickly. 9-5.
9-5. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Harless. The motion passes. We now move to the discussion of the latest concerns in the New Hampshire affiliate.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to be recognized for a motion.
Okay, Mr. Nikela.
All right, I move the following motion. The LNC shall appoint 3 members to lead an ad hoc investigative committee, which shall provide an independent and thorough investigation into the events which led to the splintering of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire affiliate. The Libertarian National Committee shall vote on the 3 members immediately following the passage of this motion. The purpose of this committee will be to provide recommendations to the LNC, JC, and Bylaws Committee to resolve any revealed issues, as well as set forth a model of investigating internal matters. The committee shall form a timeline of events, starting at the LP New Hampshire's 2021 State Convention until present, determine the involvement of LNC members and LP New Hampshire leadership, interview pertinent members of both organizations, review any pertinent party-run or personal electronic communications of the parties involved, and set forth a model of investigating internal issues not covered by the Judicial Committee, bylaws, and policy manual. The investigative committee shall be granted access to and review any party emails and communications. The LNC shall direct Executive Director Tyler Harris to assist in the procurement process. During the course of the investigation, the investigative committee may seek permission to access any LP New Hampshire assets they deem pertinent by the appropriate local affiliate officials. The investigative committee shall report back to the LNC for a debriefing of the findings, recommendations, and final thoughts upon the investigation being determined complete by the committee. The committee shall disband upon its final report, and that is the motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Motion
Mr.
has been made and
Nikela?
seconded.
Yes, Ms. Harless?
Because I've gotten like 200 emails since you sent that to me. Can you resend that to me? So I can't find it in my barrage here.
Yeah, no problem.
I was just going to ask if that motion had been circulated as it was worded. Yeah, actually, in the same boat. I think we're all in the same boat where,
Mr. Chair, if I recall correctly, that's exactly what was circulated, with the exception of the original had some people named, and this changes it to people to be selected by the LNC. I think that's the only difference.
That's correct.
Mr. Kaler, you said that is correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. Just make sure everyone knows what we're considering here. So that motion has been made and seconded.
And I will put it in chat.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I guess we can go ahead and begin debate. Mr. Nikela, would you like to speak to your motion?
Certainly. So obviously, with all the emotion being thrown around this last week, it's hard to really be 100% objective or neutral. Even in whoever we decide to run this committee, it's going to be hard for it to be 100% neutral. But I think this is the best way forward. Action works 100% of the time, all the time. And this is the action that we need to take in order to get an investigation off the ground. We can come back, regroup when the investigation is complete, have all the facts put out in front of us, decide what we're going to do as a body moving forward, so we're all on the same page. This body will be given access to our emails, to whatever LNC resources needed in order to carry out the investigation. They can ask LP New Hampshire for whatever information they need. Obviously, they'd have to get permission to go forward, but this would get a neutral body to go ahead, get this investigation underway, and focus on work, focus on what makes this party great, and come back in a few weeks and we can resolve this later. This will hopefully inspire some confidence in our members that we're taking care of this, that there's something happening here, and we can move on and keep going.
Thank you, Mr. Nikela. Is there anyone who would like to speak against this motion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
I don't know if mine's as much speaking against it as I'd want to reinforce some points, and maybe just a point of inquiry with Mr. Nikela.
Go ahead.
So my concern is, I've spoken with many of the members from New Hampshire, and they're concerned that if we start a investigation, that it's going to become some kind of witch hunt against their members, and their practices over social media or whatever else it is. And I want to make it clear to them, and I want this board to be clear about it to them, that if we do start an investigation, it's going to be into the charges of corruption that have taken place in the party, with regards to our prior chair and Gilletta Jarvis, and the handling of the party assets, and not so much as us going and investigating their social media actions. So I think that that's what they're worried about, and it's definitely something that I'm worried about, and I'd like to be able to reassure them that if we do that, that's what it's going to be about, because otherwise we have no business whatsoever meddling in their social media interactions. So I don't know if that can be cleared up now or what. So those are my concerns, and those are the concerns also of New Hampshire. So
thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Nikela?
And I have a motion to amend after.
Yeah, just so we can definitely make that clear in the motion, but my intention is not to me, social media, the social media of New Hampshire is a New Hampshire problem. I've had social media issues in Florida in the past. I took care of it. I took accountability for it. LP New Hampshire is going to have to take accountability for their social media. Our job is not to take accountability for them. My concern is strictly on the events that transpired, on what events led to the schism in New Hampshire, what events on the LNC's behalf might have led to that schism or aided it and abetted it, and what other information that we don't know is going to come up in this investigation to give us the facts objectively, so we can make a determination. I want to look at this the same way a geologist looks at a stone. We just need to look at the objective facts for the reality of what happened. I'm not interested in witch hunts. Florida's been through many. I don't want to see it happen to the folks in New Hampshire. I just want to know what's going on, so that we're all debriefed and we can much with the God's eye view move forward. So
thank you, Mr. Nikela. Ms. Harless, you had a motion.
Yeah, a motion to amend. I might have another one if Josh doesn't have one on the subject matter he raised, but I have one on a subject matter that's of interest to me that I would like included in this committee's charge. So in the paragraph that says the committee shall form a timeline, and that ends with and set forth a model of investigating internal issues, I would like to move to amend to add the phrase after internal issues, putting including development of a whistleblower protection policy.
Second.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second on that amendment. Ms. Harless, would you like to speak in favor of that?
I think the situation at hand speaks for itself much more eloquently than I ever could.
Mr. Chair, I would like to speak in favor as well. When you
Can we just ask if there's objection?
Okay, yeah,
Well,
we could.
people
We could
do
that.
have the right to speak, even if there's no objection.
Well, I see Richard Brown is here, so he may be able to help. But I do believe I wanted to make sure everybody had an opportunity to speak on it. But if there's no objection, I'm
Nobody's
happy to
called
move
the
it
question.
along.
If somebody wants to speak, they're allowed to speak.
All right. Well, let me ask if there's anyone who wants to speak against the proposed amendment.
I would like it to be repeated.
Oh, certainly. I am typing it out right now.
And while you're
One
typing
second.
that out, Ms. Harless, would you mind if Mr. Smith speaks in favor while you're typing that?
I have no problem at all.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Yeah. So the last week has been extremely disturbing to me. You know, all ego and everything that we've been through over the last week aside, there is blatant corruption that has taken place in this party. We all know it on this board, and we have argued and obsessed on this board over decorum, over bullshit that means nothing to the situation at hand. And instead we've attacked people, myself included, Karen Ann. I've gone at people. We've all gone at each other over stuff that has nothing to do with it. And now you guys are literally trying to remove Karen Ann Harlos, who's been one of the greatest secretaries this party has ever had, because of her
Objection.
No.
This is
Excuse me.
New
I'm gonna
Hampshire.
finish.
This
I'm
is
gonna finish. Thank
outside
you.
of the call
No,
of the
I'm gonna
meeting.
finish. I'm making case
Mr.
why
Chair, I
excuse me.
object.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm making.
Yeah,
I'm
I hate to
making.
do it, but I'm
Real-
appealing.
guys,
I am
guys.
making an. I am
everyone,
making an appeal for why we need a
Please.
whistleblower cause. Okay.
It is
It
germane
is
to the
germane.
motion.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead and continue, Mr. Smith.
Everybody outside of this meeting or in this meeting right now is looking at you guys as going after a whistleblower, somebody who has busted their ass to bring to light evidence that has proven corruption. They need protections. You should not have the right to remove somebody from the board because you disagree with them, and that's what you guys are doing. Please support this motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, John Phillips.
Yes, Mr. Phillips.
I would also like to speak in favor.
If you, Mr. Phillips, if you don't mind, I try to do the yays and nays back and forth. I want to.
I'm just putting myself in the queue.
Perfect.
And you had requested me to reread the amendment.
Yes, there was a request to reread the amendment. Let's do that first.
Do you want me to reread the whole paragraph as amended or just a pertinent part of the portion?
Mr. Nana?
I just want to know what we're changing about the motion.
Certainly. The original motion is ending with and set forth a model of investigating internal issues. I added including a whistleblower protection policy and then continuing with the original motion, not covered by the Judicial Committee bylaws and policy manual. So I am adding the phrase including a whistleblower protection policy.
All right. So
Let
let me ask if there's anyone.
Language in the chat.
Yes, I'll put that revised paragraph in the chat.
Thank you.
May I speak to the motion? I've had my hand up for a very long time.
Are you speaking in favor or against, Mr. Nana?
Well, if it's as amended, I suppose I'm speaking against because now I'm totally unclear what the scope of the investigation is.
I'm putting it in chat.
Okay. Mr. Nana, if you're speaking against, then you're recognized.
Okay, I guess I'm speaking against the amendment because I think it makes the purpose of the investigative committee unclear. I would hope that anybody we select wouldn't go after anybody. I don't know why they would. I mean, I don't know. It's up to us to choose 3 people who are going to do a good job. And if we don't feel we can do that, then we shouldn't be making this decision.
All right, Mr. Phillips, I believe you wanted to speak in favor.
Yes, sir. I think Mr. Nana misunderstands Karen Ann's, Mrs. Harlow's, excuse me, amendment. Her amendment is to for the investigative body to recommend these procedures, not to go after anybody. So that's what I think her amendment does. And I would like to speak in favor of that because I have called for that many times, as has, I believe, Ms. Adams, and Mrs. Harlos has spoken in favor of before, and several other members of this body have spoken in favor of a whistleblower protection policy. It is something that we hold dear to our hearts. We scream about it with Mr. Snowden, for example. So us developing a robust whistleblower policy is something that we should absolutely have. And so I speak in favor of this.
Is it in order to make a motion to divide then? Because I don't think these two things need to be done by the same people.
I would say it is not in order to divide, because if you ask the question, well,
No,
I think it is.
Yeah,
I believe I am in order to make an order to motion to divide, and I would make the motion to divide the question along the lines of, I don't have the text in front of me, but it would be one body to do the investigation and then another body to recommend a whistleblower policy. I think that's a lot to ask of one body. That's all.
Mr. Chair, point of information on our inquiry.
Go ahead, Ms. Adams.
Whose job is it to write policy? Because it was my belief it was ours. I agree with our secretary and Mr. Smith and Mr. Phillips that we need a whistleblower policy. I'm certainly not opposed to another entity, another group making recommendations about that. But I am really confused about why we're offloading this responsibility onto another group when literally we could write the fucking policy and pass it. So I'm confused.
Mr. Vice Chair, I have a point of order.
Yes, Ms. Harless.
2 points of order, actually. I've been demonized for my language, but I've heard the F-bomb dropped here by more committee members than I typically do in a post that isn't on this committee. Second, this is not then a division. I believe what Mr. Nana is proposing is a substitute motion, which is the exact same language, except for potentially, I'm not going to write his motion for him because I don't want to misconstrue it, but he would be adding, actually, I think, yeah, his would be totally separate because he wants to create 2 committees. That's not a division. That's an entirely different motion.
Well, it was a motion. It was to divide the question, but I think you're right. I mean, you know what my intent is, but I think you're corrected that it's technically not as I described.
So yes, and that's why I was leaning towards it being out of order, because technically it would just be voting against this amendment right now, and then a separate motion that would be forming a separate committee.
You are correct. So I withdraw, and you guys can go forward.
All right. Okay.
Mr. Vice Chair, I mean, Mr. Operating Chair, sorry.
Whatever.
Whatever
you can call
it is.
me Bob. I don't care.
Yeah. I'd like to direct this to you to Mr. Nana through you. It would always be in order for him before the committee actually starts his work, if he wants to have time to craft language to amend something previously adopted, and the body could, because I'm certainly open as the maker of the motion to a separate committee doing that. But with him not having language now, I would just like him to know he does have some rights to revisit this.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Harlos, and I'm sure that was well taken by Mr. Nana. All right, so we're in debate on the amendment, I believe. And if I recall, we've heard the last speaker was 4. Is there anyone else against the amendment?
Mr. Chair, Tim Hagan.
Yes, Mr. Hagan.
Call the question.
Okay, calling the question. Is there objection to calling the question? Let's just do that one. I am hearing no
I
objection to calling.
object.
Oh, okay. Mr. Smith objects. Then we will do a roll call vote. Ms. Harlos, if you could call the roll. This is the amendment to add Ms. Harlos's proposed language, or the language that Ms. Harlos proposed is the right way to say that, to the end of the main motion, which was put into chat.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Mr. Brown. That you're actually voting on closing debate first.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you. So yes, first we do a vote on closing debate on the issue, and then we'll move, if that passes, we'll move on from there. All right. So this is just to end debate on the amendment.
Point of parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Harlos.
When you asked for objections, I'm not so sure everyone understood what they were objecting to. Is there any way we could ask that again? Because I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't even understand that the point at hand was closing debate.
Okay, then that is fine. So never hurts to make sure everybody's on the same page. So what we're doing is we're calling, there's been a motion made to call the question. And so now I'm asking if there's any objection to calling the question on the amendment that Ms. Harlos had proposed. I am not hearing any objection to closing debate on the amendment as proposed. So now we will move to a vote on the amendment. I will ask first if there is objection to the amendment.
Yeah, I would object to the amendment to do what I stated earlier, to attempt to do at least.
Okay, then Ms. Harlos, let's call the roll on the amendment.
Okay.
And this is, and again, just to reiterate, this is the amendment that Ms. Harlos had proposed that was pasted into the chat that we are now voting on, whether or not this becomes part of the main motion.
Okay.
Can we repaste the thing since the chat scrolls so
Yes.
quickly?
Give me one moment, please. I am, of course, in chat, I can't put in the formatting. Oh, crap. And my computer, because it's a lot of power that I can't, it's not letting me. Oh, here it goes. Hold on. Just got, oh, Lord have mercy. Then it stopped me. 1 second. Okay. Copy. I'm like having to play catch up with my mouse, you know, when your mouse doesn't. Okay. It's back in chat.
Thank you, Ms. Harlos. Everyone could take a look at the chat very quickly. Okay, and assuming that everyone has looked at the chat and has read that last paragraph, and again, Ms. Harlos, the amendment is that last clause starting at "and set forth a model of investigating internal issues, including a whistleblower protection policy," or
Yeah.
including a whistleblower
Right.
protection policy.
Right. The only thing that's being added is including a whistleblower protection policy.
Perfect. So everybody, I hope, is clear on that now. And Ms. Harlos, let's call the roll.
Okay. Ms. Bilyeu?
No.
Mr. Bowen?
Yes.
Ms. Epke?
No.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
I will vote yes. Mr. Hewitt? Has Mr. Hewitt left? Mr. Fiera?
Ever seen no. With the grit.
Ms. Hogarth?
No.
Mr. Longstreth?
No.
Mr. Nana?
Yeah, you convinced me. I vote yes.
Mr. Nikela?
I vote aye.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Ratsett?
I vote no, but encourage a separate motion that we can vote on. I will vote yes on a separate motion.
Ms. Sarwark?
No.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Went?
No.
Okay, Mr. Chair, it is 7 yes, 8 no.
The chair will not vote.
And Mr. Chair, Mr. Hewitt is not in the room.
Correct, and I took the vote of Mr. Fiera.
Thank you. All right, so we are now with a vote of 7 to 8. The motion, the amendment fails. We're now back to the main motion as proposed, unamended. Is there further discussion on the amendment? Or excuse me, dang it, further discussion on the motion? It is late. I've had a long week, as I'll have all of you. So sorry.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Nicalia.
Go ahead, Mr. Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is there any language, or did you consider putting any language in the motion that precludes any LNC member from being on that particular committee? Let me preface before you answer, just to say that my feeling is that if it is to be a formal independent investigation, there can be no member of the LNC board on that committee, or it is no longer independent, no matter what anybody's duties or feelings are about it. Mr. Bookman is probably the most capable person to do that, but the fact that he's on the board, I think, precludes him or any of us from sitting on that board. In the audit business, we have something called being independent in fact and appearance. And Mr. Bookman being on that committee may be independent in fact, but it is not independent in appearance. So I will not vote for this motion unless there is a clause that says nobody on this board is allowed to serve on that committee. Thank you.
Mr. Bowen, are you asking to make an amendment?
I'd like to hear some debate about that first, if it's not out of order.
I would make that amendment.
Well, then I'll make a motion to amend. No current LNC board member will be included on this formal investigative committee. That can be added right to the end of the meeting.
I'm trying to find where this would be added. 1 second here.
Yeah, added anywhere. I would be fine with it being added anywhere.
I'm trying to find where it talks about, oh, here we go.
Does that motion need a second?
If I may make a suggestion, can we take a 5-minute recess for you guys to workshop that real quick? I don't know about you all, but I need to use a facilities break anyway.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have language, but I'm good for a break too.
If there's no objection.
Before we break, Mr. Chair, does my motion need a second?
Well, I would second it, but we don't have a motion without language.
Okay.
So what I'm suggesting is we take a 5-minute recess here. And
Understood.
as long as there's no objection, everybody takes a break, stretches, does whatever they need to do, and we come back with language and we have a motion and we move forward. Is there any objection to that? Awesome. I'll see you all. Let's see, it is 11:42 Eastern time. And I will see you all at 11:47.
Mr. Bowen, Mrs. Harless, are you sticking around to workshop that?
Well, I can let you know what I had thought. I just think it needs to be a simple sentence at the end of the first paragraph that just says, no LNC members are eligible to serve on this committee.
I have a
Perfect. Yeah, where I don't see the language in front of me, but where it says 3 people, could we just make it say 3 non-LNC members or something? Wouldn't that be the easiest?
Yeah, we could do that as well. There's a million ways to do it. I'm fine with that if that's what you guys would prefer.
I think the way Ms. Harlow said it the first time flows better. It's just a preference.
Yeah, Ms. Michael, I like your language and where you actually placed it. I think it's
okay.
It's a sentence by itself. It's a sentence by itself, which I confirm.
I have a question.
Okay.
Would that preclude somebody from working with the committee in an advisory capacity? Because while I agree that perhaps an LNC member would not be the right answer to actually be on the committee, Mr. Buffman's advice to that committee might be valuable. Or Mrs. Harlow's, who also has.
I don't think a single LNC member should be involved in the process at all. I really think it should be completely out of the party, but I will settle for not on this board. But I will not vote for anything that includes anybody on this board as an advisor or a member, period, point blank. That's why
I had initially supported
Matthew doing that until he voted to suspend Karen Ann Harlos. I feel like I can't support him being on that committee anymore.
Well, just
Well, parliamentary, can I please just let you, because you're asking a question that's actually a committee can consult with anyone they wish. If you want to limit who they can consult with, it has to be specific. Otherwise, now all this means is no LNC member can be one of those three. But if they want to have a seance and consult with the spirit of Elvis, they're allowed to.
Okay, that was my question. I mean, so we would not preclude them from asking questions to you or Mr. Buckman or to whoever else might have.
And unless that was added, it would not preclude that. You are correct.
Mr. Phillips, I would expect that some of us are going to be called to testify in front of that committee.
I'm sorry, I'm having
Bourne,
trouble
you're really
understanding.
difficult to hear.
I'm sorry, I said, let me see if I can turn this up. I said some of us are going to be called to testify on that committee. So,
Right. Yeah, I don't see testifying as an issue because we're all. I'm sure a lot of us are going to have to make statements. I just don't think it would be right for one of us to tell what to do. So that's where when you said advisor, that's what kind of perked me up. That's
okay. Yeah.
The other thing too is I think if the board or if that investigative committee has a question or they run into some sort of roadblock or issue that they can't determine, they may come back to us, to the board, and say, we're stuck here, what do we do? I don't want one person just making that decision. I want the whole board to know that that's the case.
And if you would pardon me, I do need to use the restroom if we're done workshopping that.
I kind of feel the same way about anybody from New Hampshire sitting on this board as well.
Well,
I'm going to the bathroom. I workshopped what I wished, so.
Or anybody in any caucuses.
We're going to obviously want to be careful.
Yep, any caucus officers we should not choose.
Because ultimately, who we choose, we're going to put the trust in them. We're not going to make this so narrow as to define, all the pitfalls, but we're going to have to pick people that we're going to trust. So,
yes.
So that we're just going to make that decision.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Michaela. We just need to choose the right three people and then let them do their job. I think we got to trust each other to choose the right three people. We have to put faith in each other to do this right and choose the right three people. I think, as long as we're not choosing LNC members to be on the actual committee, if those three people want to ask questions of people or advice, that's totally up to them. We need to choose three people we all trust.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't precluding asking advice. That's all I wanted. I'm good.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Appreciate you asking because I wouldn't want that either. That wouldn't make sense.
May I offer information from the Respectful Workplace Committee? The national plan the national plan, the insurance, and part of what's included in our legal infrastructure when we began research on this originally after YAL 2, there was verbiage that suggested that private non-partial investigative funding already existed and it was covered in policies that were covered under the LNC. Just keep that in mind, please.
Thank you.
Should also make sure that nobody on the judicial committee is on this investigative committee, since they might have to wind up hearing an appeal on something.
I would be okay with them being on it, and as long as they guaranteed us that they would recuse themselves from any appeal. We would have to demand a recusal if they still wanted to serve on this. We would have to be very clear as a committee that we would expect a recusal.
All right, it is, I know the secretary is, I was listening, I know the secretary is off for a moment. I want to give her just a moment to get back.
I'm back.
Oh, good, perfect. Look at that. Is everybody back? I guess if you're not back, stay so. That's not going to work so well, but we are a minute past the time that I said we would reconvene. And so I think if I I heard correctly, there is now language that can be circulated for this amendment that's being proposed. Is that correct, Madam Secretary?
I'm so sorry. I phased out. What did you say?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that the language is ready to go. So when we gavel back in, we're
Yes,
rocking
sir.
and rolling. Excellent. And really, I'm just killing an extra minute to make sure that everybody's back. So, okay. With that said, let's come back to order. It is 11:49. Madam Secretary, I believe there is a motion to be made.
Yes, I would move to amend to add this sentence to the end of the first paragraph. No LNC members shall be eligible to serve on this committee.
Okay, that is a motion. Is there a second for that amendment?
Second.
Okay, that's seconded by Mr. Nana. All right. Do we need to have any? Well, I hate asking this. Is there going to be any objection to this motion? Let's start there. I'm not hearing any objection. I'm just giving extra time in case somebody's having trouble with the mute button. I'm not hearing any objection to this motion. Unless I hear it, I'm going to declare it passed and back to the main motion because it's late. All right, cool. We are now, I'm going to declare that no objection, that amendment is accepted by the body. We are now back to the main motion as amended. Does anyone need to see that? I guess I should have asked, was that motion put into chat?
I could put the amended, the first paragraph now as amended.
I'm sorry. I should have done that ahead of time. I am tired, guys.
Well,
It's been a
I think
long,
this
long
one
day.
was a bit easier than the other one, but I'm putting the first paragraph as amended.
It's been a long, crazy day. And somewhere I have 4,000 emails waiting for me to read.
We're almost there. I think we're about done.
I know. Yeah. I do thank everybody for taking the time tonight. It's a Friday night. It's a Father's Day weekend. It's yeah. So,
Mr. Chair, while we're discussing stuff informally here for a minute,
yes.
At the end of this meeting, towards the end of this meeting, would it be appropriate to move to cancel tomorrow night's meeting because I think we've addressed all we can address?
I am certainly hopeful that would be in order, and if not, then I hope everyone would jump on the mailing list and do that right away. Because I believe 50% can cancel a meeting.
Point of, well, no, we're not done because now we have to appoint 3 people as well. And I would respectfully suggest that everyone is far too tired for that. And my intention after we pass this motion, which I think is going to pass, was to have us come back tomorrow solely for the purpose of appointing those 3 people with no public comment. Just come because we're tired now. We're not going to make the best recommendations, and we might want to ask people if they'd be willing to serve overnight so that we're nominating.
Sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. I thought it was.
Oh, no, I think you all got what I was getting at.
I'm sorry, Ms. Harlos. I was under the assumption that we would take applications like we do for most committees. If we're not going to do that, then I understand your point.
And I'd like to address something in chat because there's a misunderstanding. The suspension motion for me was never on the agenda for the night. I'm not trying to avoid a vote on that. It's an email motion that's open for 7 days or until everyone votes, just to clear up that confusion.
So, all right, let's get a little bit back to more in order here and make sure
Mr.
we
Chair?
get done with this. Yes, that's all right.
Would it be out of order after we're done with this to make a motion to call a meeting to set the vacancies that have occurred, or vacancies, sorry?
I do think that technically it's not on the agenda, but I would be fine with allowing it as long as the body is.
Mr. Chair, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Not on the agenda, I would object.
Me too.
Mr. Chair, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, Ms. Adams.
What does Robert say about setting the date and time for the next meeting and meeting? Is that excluded from special meetings?
Oh, sorry, I was jumping
Think
in.
about that.
Because if it isn't, I would
think
just say that it probably is in order.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mr. Brown.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Brown.
There would be an order for you to set an adjourned meeting for whenever you want to, tomorrow night, next week, next month. You can do that here. Just pick a date when you want to essentially continue this meeting. It'll be an adjourned meeting.
But it would still be
this
the
would have to be a
subject
separate
matter
meeting.
of this meeting.
Yeah. So, Mr. Brown,
This would have
the
to be a
question,
separate meeting.
the question, Mr. Brown, is whether or not we have a vacancy in our chairman's spot right now, and whether it would be an order in this meeting, which was a special meeting called to talk about New Hampshire, to set a meeting date for a meeting that would be on a topic of replacing our chair. I don't think it
that actually is something that I think would likely be out of order to do at this time.
I was leaning that way because we didn't have a broad agenda. It's a special meeting, and so that's why I thought that might be the case. So,
Thank you.
A question, a parliamentary question. If
Yes.
we amend our, I'm sorry, English language is escaping me because I'm tired.
It's midnight, sir.
Exactly. If we amend our docket of business to include electing a chair, which would require a 3/4 vote.
I mean, we're not, I hate to cut you off, but can we get back to the business that was, I mean, there was a motion on the floor as far as I understand,
Okay.
and that motion needs to be exhausted before we talk about all this stuff.
Okay.
Understood.
Let's go ahead. Let's try to finish this motion because this is the crux, and then I know there's a bunch of other people that'll be ready to go to bed, and then we can either beat our heads for another thing or we can figure it out later. But what am I trying to say? Yes. So we had a motion. There was an amendment to make it so that no one from the LNC can serve on that committee. There was no objection to that amendment. We're back at the main motion. And so I am looking for people who want to speak in favor or against the motion as amended. And I'm not hearing anybody speak up. So I'm just gonna ask one
Hands
more-
are raised.
Oh, I am so sorry. I cannot see the hands. I am so sorry. Hold on. Let's see if I can figure this out here. Okay. All right. I see Rich Bowen has his hand up. Mr. Bowen?
I pass. I'm sorry. My hand should be down.
It's an artifact. Okay. Miss Billiou.
I don't have a specific amendment to make, but I just would like to see this also include exclusion of people who are members of caucuses.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tall order, isn't it?
No, I don't think it'll be as tall.
Not order. Hey guys, order. It's really late. If I may make a suggestion, it's really late. If we can get everything that people would like to see in this, we have another meeting scheduled for 9 o'clock tomorrow. We can adjourn this meeting to that time and merge the two together, which would be pretty handy because basically it becomes one, basically. Alternately, we can keep working on this and keep workshopping until 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning, which I will do.
I moved to adjourn.
But it will get silly.
And then to continue the meeting tomorrow at 9, I guess. I was hoping we could do it tonight, but okay. I make a move to adjourn until 9 p.m. tomorrow.
Jack. Okay. There's an objection to the adjournment till tomorrow. Mr. Brown, I can't remember if we're allowed to speak and if we're adjourning to a date certain.
Yes, yes, you can, and you can, it's amendable as to the date and time.
Okay. Mr. Nana, would you like to speak in favor of your motion?
Well, I thought we were close to getting done, but it seems like we're not. So it's a midnight over here on the East Coast.
Actually,
you know, whatever. We can talk about it in between the meetings informally, and we can get all this hammered out. And hopefully, when we come back to the next meeting, we'll have a motion ready to go immediately, and we'll just all agree on it. Hopefully.
And I just realized I never even asked for a second for the adjournment motion.
Second.
I'm so sorry. Okay, there's the
Second.
second. Now we got everything back in order. Someone spoke in favor. Does someone want to speak against?
Mr. Chair, John Phillips.
Yes, Mr. Phillips.
I believe that that Mrs. Bilyeu's point is well taken, but I think that can just be addressed in the nomination process rather than amending the motion. And I think we could just vote to move this motion tonight and then come tomorrow and do business, take that business up, and at least give our members some sort of progress tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of adjourning till tomorrow?
I would like to speak in favor. We are tired. This is very important. We already have the meeting set. We're already going to have to come back to nominate the members. I can tell you, because I'm going to be opposed to this whole caucus thing. We don't punish people for being in caucuses. And the Pragmatist Caucus just dissolved, and that just, you know, if they were a caucus member, 10 hours ago, does that count? This is just, we need to nominate good people, and I trust the committee to vote on good people. Just because someone might nominally be a member of a caucus shouldn't disqualify them. And I think none of us are going to be voting for, rabid partisans. So I trust us to nominate good people.
I'd like to speak
Is it for or against adjournment?
against.
Okay, go ahead. Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, I lied. No, that's correct. Against. Sorry. I was trying to remember where we were. It's late, guys. I mean,
I know.
I'm just going to be parliamentarian over here. Go ahead. Sorry.
Guys, I know it's late. I know we're all tired. I'm tired. We've been at this for a week. We're almost there. We're so close. Let's just give the members something. Let's get through this tonight. I don't want to rush it, but I feel like we're almost there. So let's just get through it. And after this, we can move to adjourn until tomorrow night, whatever we got to do. But let's get through this for the members, for the body that, who were elected to serve. We're almost there.
Are there any other new, different comments, things to say about adjournment one way or the other? I'm not hearing anything further. Let's just do a roll on this because there's two sides on it and we're going to have to do it anyway. So, Madam Secretary, go ahead and call the roll.
Once I can get control of my cursor again, which isn't behaving.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just explain again what yes means and what no means, since it is very late, please.
Yes. So I apologize. So a yes vote would be to adjourn until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. That's when we already have a meeting scheduled anyway. So basically we just pause where we're at. 9 o'clock tomorrow, pick up where we're at. A no vote, we would continue working on this tonight until such time as someone else makes a motion to adjourn to a different time, or we make a motion to adjourn completely. And then we have another meeting scheduled for 9 p.m. tomorrow, regardless.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, one other question.
Yes, Mr. Ferrer.
Do we plan to have public comment tomorrow?
I mean, at this time, I would say yes. I believe that public comment begins every meeting.
Mr.
Chair.
Privilege.
Mr. Chair.
Not if it's a continuation of this meeting.
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be a continuation of this meeting, and we already extended public comment to almost 90 minutes, and I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, and let me clarify that. If we just adjourn tonight and we just pick up a brand new meeting tomorrow at 9 p.m., then that would set us back to the default of starting a new meeting over, right? And that would get the public comment, the LNC comment, doing that again. If when we're done here tonight, we adjourn to set it towards the 9 o'clock, it creates a weird problem because we technically have two meetings at the exact same time. But since we can't do the second one because the first one's still going. This one would take precedent, which means that we would not have public comment again.
Mr. Chair,
Is
with
it-
all due
yes.
respect, orders of the day. I
Thank
believe
you.
it's still a motion.
Yes, we do have a motion. All right, so there was, okay. We heard someone speak against last. Is there someone who would like to speak for?
I thought we were taking the roll.
Yeah,
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah,
We-
okay, I'm
this is why I'm
officially,
Listen, we're gonna lose
Guys.
our chair soon. He's gonna fall asleep trying to control the meeting. Can we please? This is why I'm
I'm
trying
gonna
to.
find some 5-hour energy. I mean, yeah, give me a moment. Give me one moment.
Mr. Chair, this is
meantime-
Richard Brown. Can I say something?
Yes, please do.
The way I read your rules, I don't think you're required to have public comment at the meetings. And especially if it's an adjourned meeting, but even if it's not, the way I read your rules, that's optional. I think it's more of a custom than a requirement. And this board could vote not either to do it or not to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. That is very good information. I don't like to limit public comment, but we've spent a lot of time on this tonight, and yeah. And okay, so yes, I apologize. We're calling the roll, I guess, were we calling a roll on? Guys, I'm sorry.
We were on roll. call.
Adjournment. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's for adjournment.
For adjournment till tomorrow. Thank you.
Does anyone object to adjournment?
Yes.
Caitlin did.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna have to do this manually because my cursor isn't behaving. But when you want me to start, let me know.
I am ready for you to start.
Ms. Bilyeu,
Yes.
Mr. Bowen,
No.
Ms. Epke,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan.
No.
I am going to vote yes. Mr. Hewitt,
Yes.
Ms. Hogarth,
No.
Mr. Longstreth,
Yes.
Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Nikela,
Nay.
Mr. Phillips,
No.
Mr. Radsep,
Yes.
Ms. Sarwark,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
What's the current count?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yes. 5 no's.
I'll vote yes.
Mr. Went,
No.
okay, let me double check my count here because I had to do it manually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 no's.
Oh,
Did I miss somebody?
did you miss yourself?
No, I voted for myself. Mr. Hewitt, did I miss you?
Pretty
No,
sure you voted.
I
What
voted
about-
yes. I think
I
you
thought we
can.
did it live. I don't remember hearing Susan.
Susan voted.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know then.
Did the chair vote?
The chair
It
is not.
added up to 15. That's correct. The chair didn't vote
Correct.
and we're
Oh, yeah.
minus a member, so.
Yeah.
That's correct. And I am not going to vote, but I am going to thank you all for letting me go to bed. And I promise tomorrow, knowing I'll be chairing a meeting, I will be prepared.
My understanding, Ken, is.
Thanks, Ken.
Right into the motion tomorrow.
Ken, you're awesome, man.
9
Good
o'clock.
job, Ken.
Guys, I want to again apologize to everybody.
Don't-
You know,
don't.
I did not expect it, so I will come better prepared tomorrow and better rested for sure.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You apologize.
Thank you all. Thanks to everybody who hung out the whole entire meeting too. The gears of bureaucracy. It's fun.
We only actually met for, I don't know, less than an hour, just over an hour, and we had longer public comment.
Okay.
That's
That's true.
That can't happen anymore. I'm sorry, but that's crazy. I mean, I love hearing from our people, but they have no way. You can boo me all you want. I'm gonna speak my mind and tell you how I feel. I don't care. The booing is done.
It's all good, but I do think we should, let me see if I can stop. Mr. Harris, are you still there? Can you stop? Thank you. Stop the stream. Excellent.
Jason.
I got you.
Keep fighting for liberty.
Do it for governor.
Professional Wrestling Caucus.
Thank
Thank
you all.
you.
Listen, that professional wrestling
Thank you,
caucus, I
Ken.
think anybody in the
Vote out.
professional wrestling caucus, if you
Does
could set up a
anybody want to
cage
stick
fight in
around?
Reno.
Vote out Nana.
Does anybody want to stick around?
Nana's one of the good ones. Stop it.
We
No,
love you,
I don't
Karen
care
and
about-
Carlos.
Thank
I
you,
don't care
Ken.
about the people in my region.
Appreciate what you do.
All right.
Ken, you're a champ
Everybody-
for sure.
We love Carlos.
Everybody.
All right, that concludes the meeting tonight at the LNC. It would appear that they didn't get much business done. Excuse. But we did have a 90-minute section of public comment. We'll probably come back on tomorrow to finish off the meeting. Just a reminder, Frisbee Golf for Freedom is tomorrow at Tut Hill Park in Sioux Falls. Bring your disc golf. We're going to let the winner is going to get a Libertarian Party of South Dakota t-shirt. Greg also says that he'll bring a kitten for the winner too. I don't know if he was serious or not. We'll see. You just have to show up to find out. Also a reminder that a Freedom Fest is going to be this July 21st through the 24th in Rapid City. If you want to get $100 off on your ticket, use the coupon code FF21LPSD. There's be a lot of great speakers there. You're going to have Joe Jorgensen, Justin Amash, Dave Smith, Tom Woods, Dr. Drew Pinsky is going to be there. JP Sears, the comedian. So looking forward to that. We also are going to have a Libertarian Party South Dakota after party, and Larry Sharp is going to be at that. So definitely come. And I think that's everything. Just a reminder that this episode was we got some comments here. Let's read some comments here. Public comment was worth it. The least this shitty board can do is listen to 1.5 hours of public comment. I agree. Devin Pratt says, "Are you Antifa?" No, I'm a libertarian, but thanks for asking. All right, well, that does it for the show today. We'll be back tomorrow to finish off the meeting. And also Sunday, we're going to have the former secretary of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire on to give us a boots on the ground testimony on what went down. Maybe get everybody brought up to speed who's kind of confused still on what's happening in New Hampshire. And then after that, we're going to have a bunch of guests coming on with their witness testimonies of UFOs in South Dakota. So you definitely don't want to miss it on that. Tune in on Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for that. And that's everything I have for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'm not sure what time the LNC meeting is going to be, but the last two have been at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to assume it's going to be at 8 o'clock as well. And we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in.